Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Lord of the People. My dragon can be multiplied tenfold. Chapter 1. Welcome to the Eternal Continent. This is a place full of opportunities, and it is also a cruel world where all races compete for hegemony. You can acquire a territory, become a lord, and the arms you rely on for survival and development. The first step on the road to hegemony, you need to stand out from the tens of billions of lords. Let's embark on the road to becoming a god, pursue the footsteps of truth, and become that eternal existence. The initial territory was successfully acquired. The construction of the invincible protective cover of the territory is completed. The initial unit is being randomized. Su-Han opened his eyes and looked around curiously. The place where he is located is a small manor. Except for the square where he stands, there are only a few old and simple buildings. Outside the manor is a boundless forest, filled with a special atmosphere, and there are waves of wild beast roars from time to time. Su-Han looked up and found that there were 9 great suns in the sky, blooming with divine light. I really came to another world. Complicated look appeared on Su-Han's face. So is this a second time travel? He had just traveled to Blue Star for a week, and was about to show off his ambitions and reach the pinnacle of his life, but he did not expect to enter the Eternal Continent. All races contend for hegemony. Is it the qualification to become a god? Su-Han felt the fierce competition. How easy is it to stand out from the tens of billions of lords? What's more, the opponent is not only the tens of billions of lords, but also the local strongmen of the Eternal Continent. At this time, the voice in my mind sounded again. Weak lord, in the next 10 days, your territory will be protected and invincible, giving you a period of development. 10 days later, the first monster army attack will usher in the test of being a novice lord. Work hard to develop the territory, otherwise you will die and become the bones of other lords on the road to becoming a god. Su-Han looked at the light barrier covering the entire manor, and heaved a sigh of relief. 10-day novice protection period. During this period, he is absolutely safe, as long as he does not stay within the range of the manor. The next step is to see what kind of troops are randomly selected. As long as the troops are not too bad, it should be no problem to pass the first wave of tests. Su-Han felt that with his luck, he should be able to get a good unit. Successful random selection of arms buildings. Acquired the unit building, Ancestral Dragon Nest. As the voice in his head sounded, a golden light descended from the sky and landed in the center of the square in front of Su-Han. After the golden light dissipated, a building appeared. It was a lair with a diameter of 20 meters and a height of 5 meters, exuding a sacred atmosphere. This is the Ancestral Dragon Nest. At the same time, a virtual template appeared in front of him, displaying building information. Ancestral Dragon Nest. Characteristic. Myth, unique. Level 1. 1 giant dragon can be bred every day. Upgrade conditions. 300 magic stones, 3 magic crystals. Remarks. There is a very low probability of breeding a high-level giant dragon. Upgrading the Ancestor Dragon Nest can increase the chance of breeding a high-level giant dragon. Remarks. The Ancestral Dragon Nest can breed all types of dragons in the multiverse. Remarks. Spending magic stones can shorten the time to breed a dragon. Gulong. Su-Han swallowed his saliva in disbelief, with a look of ecstasy on his face. Never expected that he could randomly draw such a powerful unit. Dragon. One of the highest creatures in all dimensions, planes, and worlds is synonymous with strength. The arms levels of the Eternal Continent are divided into ordinary, elite, advanced, top, ace and myth, and the dragon is one of the myth-level arms. After careful inspection, Su-Han found that his unit was more powerful than he thought. The Ancestral Dragon Nest can breed all the high-level dragons in the multiverse, which is much, much stronger than a single dragon unit. Black Dragon, Red Dragon, Silver Dragon, Crystal Dragon, Star Dragon, 100-headed Dragon, Sacred Dragon, Void Dragon, Time Dragon, Destiny Dragon. And this unit building is unique, that is to say, there will only be one in the multiverse. Once Su-Han obtained the Ancestral Dragon Lair, it was impossible for other lords to obtain it. At most, he could obtain a single dragon unit. In time, he will definitely be able to stand at the peak of the Eternal Continent with this Ancestral Dragon Nest. There are very few lords who can fight against him, and those who have obtained arms such as titans, angels, and high demons. Arms are the sharp sword in the hands of the Lord, and also the only reliance, and the pillar for the Lord to go to the highest. Now that he has obtained the mythical unit of the ancestral dragon nest, it means that he starts higher than most of the lords and can reach a higher height. Some people have worked their whole lives to come to Rome, but some people were born in Rome. There is no doubt that Su-han is now one of the few lords born in Rome. Moreover, he also has a golden finger, although I don't know if it will work in the Eternal Continent. After thinking about it, Su-han decided to give it a try. Su-han took a few steps forward, and when he came within 3 meters of the ancestral dragon's nest, a prompt popped up. The energy of the ancestral dragon's nest reaches the standard. Is it possible to breed a dragon? Yes, Su-han said without hesitation. In an instant, divine light appeared in the huge ancestor dragon nest, and a huge dragon egg appeared in the dragon nest. At the same time, a reminder sounded in Su-han's mind. Tenfold increase starts. You get 10 dragon eggs. Su-han quickly looked at the ancestral dragon's nest, and found that there were 10 dragon eggs inside. He couldn't help but heaved a sigh of relief, his expression extremely excited. Sure enough, I'm developed. Su-han was ecstatic in his heart. This tenfold golden finger was his reliance on Blue Star, and he didn't expect it to be equally useful in the Eternal Continent. Catch, catch. With the sound of breaking, one by one young dragons got out of the eggshells and appeared in Su-han's sight. These 10 young dragons are all white, less than 1 meter long, with 2 small fleshy wings on their backs and a small fleshy tail. Immediately afterwards, the 10 young dragons ate the eggshells that gave birth to them. White dragon scales grew on their bodies, and their wings became stronger. Me's young dragon. Then these young dragons flapped their wings and flew in front of Su-han strangely. 10 little white dragons. I have seen the Lord. The 10 white dragons also put their 2 front paws on the ground, leaning against their heads and said respectfully. From the moment they were conceived, they were loyal to their lord, Su-han, as the creator of their dragons. Get up. Su-han started to check the information panel of the 10 little white dragons that appeared in view. White dragon. Growth status. Juvenile dragon. Strength level. Tier 4. Loyalty. 100. Highest potential. Elderly dragon, demigod. Remarks. Dragons are divided into juvenile dragons, adult dragons, mature dragons, old dragons, extremely old dragons, ancient dragons, and ancient dragons. The same is true for the information panels of the other 9 little white dragons. The panel information of the 10 little white dragons is exactly the same. In this regard, Su-han was not surprised at all. After all, this was the result of a tenfold increase, increasing 1 little white dragon to 10. Is this the most powerful mythical unit? It's really exciting. Just a juvenile body has reached the 4th level, and an old dragon that has grown to the limit can even become a demigod. You must know that the white dragon is the weakest of the dragons, and it is called the shame of the dragon. Although it is one of the evil 5-color dragons and can breathe ice, snow and frost, its strength is much worse than other dragons. Even the red dragons, black dragons, blue dragons, and green dragons that are all 5-color dragons are much stronger than the white dragons. But the weakest giant dragon was born as a 4th-order dragon, and when it grew to the limit, it could reach a demigod. The white dragon is so powerful, so how strong should the red dragon, fairy dragon, starry sky dragon, 100-headed dragon, destroying dragon, and sacred dragon be? There are also the legendary void dragon, time dragon, etc., which are probably too powerful to imagine. Legend has it that the time dragon is the darling of the will of the infinite planes of the multiverse. It is essentially a time creature and transcends the dragon race. The time dragon itself is a true god, born as a true god, but it can continue to grow and gradually transform into a god king. In other words, as long as time dragon is given enough time, and there is no external force to obstruct it, time dragon will definitely be able to be promoted to god king. If one time dragon is bred in the ancestral dragon's nest, under the tenfold increase, it will be 10 time dragons. That is, the 10 god kings. He can completely sweep the invincible and push the eternal continent. Su-han let out a heavy breath, shaking off the unrealistic fantasies in his mind. The time dragon is almost the rarest and most powerful dragon family among the giant dragons. Even if it is the ancestor dragon nest, if you want to breed it, you may have to upgrade it many times. Su-han was about to speak when he found a string of words appearing in his vision. Personal information successfully generated. World channel successfully opened. The link to the trading plane is complete. The dimensional store is officially launched. Friend list construction complete. These are the panels he can check, and Su-han opened the personal information casually. Lord. Su-han. Strength. Level 0. Territory. Manor unnamed. Territory level. Small manor. Territory arms. Giant dragon. Soldier building. Ancestral dragon nest mythical unique. Equipment. None. Magic stone. 0. Magic crystal. 0. The name of the territory was changed to Supreme Palace. After reading the personal information panel, Su-han immediately ordered. Although his current personal information panel is very simple, but with the ancestor dragon nest, I believe he will rise soon. Then Su-han looked at other information panels and found that the world channel was very lively, but Su-han only glanced at it. I looked at the trading plane again, and found that there was nothing in it, as expected. There are no items in the dimensional store, only a line of text prompts. The first batch of items in the dimensional store will be launched in 2 days. In 2 days, Su-han murmured, opened the friend list, and found that it was also blank. Su-han laughed at himself, who said that the traversers are standard orphans. After closing all the information panels, Su-han looked at the 10 little white dragons in front of him, and randomly named them numbers 1 to 10. The white dragons are destined to be cannon fodder with him in the future, and Su-han doesn't bother to name them one by one, so only those noteworthy special high-level dragons can let him name them and cultivate them well. Number 1, you are now the captain of the white dragon team, lead them out to hunt and eliminate threats around the territory. Don't leave the territory too far. Su-han gave instructions to the little white dragons in front of him, and added something after thinking about it. The forest outside looked like a novice map, but Su-han didn't dare to be too careless. It would be troublesome if he encountered a hidden high-level monster that killed all his white dragons. Obey, my lord. The 10 little white dragons responded respectfully, then flapped their wings together and flew out of the manor. Su-han walked towards the center of the manor right in front of the square, ready to wait there and take a look at what was inside. At present, his strength is too weak, only level 0, and any mob can kill him. Although 10 little white dragons are enough to protect him, but Su-han knows his position, so he will not be a burden. Let the little white dragons hunt more monsters. After stepping into the center of the manor, Su-han found a flashing red exclamation mark in the upper right corner of his field of vision. He opened it casually, and a large number of information strips appeared in front of his eyes. Territory information. Territory survival guide. Growth path of arms. How to collect loot. How to obtain magic stones and magic crystals. Su-han immediately checked the territory information panel. Supreme Palace. Territory level. Small manor. Territory range. 100 meters in radius. Ordinary buildings. Manor center, warehouse. Soldier building. Ancestral dragon nest mythical unique. Territory characteristic. Invincible remaining 9 days, 23 hours and 55 minutes. Next level. Large manor. Upgrade conditions. 1000 units of wood, 500 units of stone. Affiliation. None, as the territory only within a radius of 100 meters. There are still nearly 10 days of invincibility time, which is enough for me to develop. It takes 1000 units of wood and 500 units of stone to upgrade the territory to a large manor. After browsing all the information, Su-han thought about it, and then opened other prompts. After some understanding, Su-han suddenly became a qualified lord. If the territory wants to survive the novice protection period, continue to develop, and embark on the path of becoming a god, it must constantly upgrade its troops. Only when the troops in the territory are strong enough can the territory be protected. There are 2 main ways to grow arms. One is training. Regular training can gradually improve the combat effectiveness of arms, but it is time-consuming. The second is to kill monsters and other enemies. You can get the corresponding magic power to promote their rapid growth, and the lord can also get some magic power upgrades. After the unit kills the monster, resources such as magic stones or even magic crystals may burst out, and equipment and blueprints may burst out with a small probability. If you lead a unit to destroy a faction, you can get part of the resources of that faction, and have a chance to get special buildings of that faction, including unit buildings. The disadvantage of this method is that it consumes a lot of arms, and it is difficult to develop if the arms are not strong. In addition, Su-han also paid special attention to a piece of information, that is, the characteristics of the territory. Territory features are very difficult to obtain, but their effects are often very powerful, such as the current short-term invincibility. For example, the characteristics that can accelerate the growth of arms, the characteristics of increasing the combat effectiveness of arms, and the increase in the output of territorial resources, etc. Even some powerful territorial characteristics can make the territory have high level, even sacred, legendary and other local powerhouses to come to the territory every once in a while. According to the strength division of the Eternal Continent, the tiers of lords and arms are uniformly divided into from level 0 to level 9, and above that are sanctuaries, legends, heroes, hero kings, and demigods. After demigods, there is the realm of gods and spirits, which does not exist in the Eternal Continent. This is the main material world, and gods will be excluded. Most of the gods live in the god realm, and their numbers are as numerous as the stars in the sky. Their divine kingdom is spread all over the star realm, and they are shining stars in the night sky. After digesting the information, Su-han began to observe the building, and found that it was not small. Although there was only one floor, there were 7 or 8 rooms. For example, bathrooms, bedrooms, kitchens, guest rooms, etc. are all equipped, and in the center of the living room, there is a colorless crystal. That is the core of the entire territory, and if you touch it, you will know how much defense value the core crystal has. Once the defense value is 0, the core crystal will be broken and the territory will be destroyed. Su-han secretly decided that when there are more dragons, he must send some guards inside and outside to prevent the core crystal from being destroyed. He is not worried about other lords, but he is afraid that after the novice protection period, he will encounter powerful local forces, local strongmen. Even if those local forces can't get in, if there are sanctuary, or even legendary, heroes and other strong people sneaking in, a core crystal without defense power will be easily destroyed. Of course, it's still early to say these things. Su-han turned on the World Channel, preparing to collect information while waiting for the results of the White Dragon Squad. Ah, Eternal Continent, it seems that I am the legendary child of destiny, the world is waiting for me to save. Wake up upstairs, everyone is a time traveler, how can there be tens of billions of destiny children? By the way, what type of arms are you all? Why do you think my initial unit, Fatty Blue, is a bit weak? Versailles, I cried silently when the initial unit was the little skull. Aha, my initial unit is Goblin, a common unit, the growth body is only level 2, and the full body is only level 4, can I change it? Is this random unit based on luck? I would like to ask the initial unit, Flaming Pegasus, who has reached the sanctuary with full physical fitness, can it rank in the top 100? Nest Grass, surprise the top arms, worship upstairs boss. Big brother Luliuliu, do you still need a bed warmer? I can be radish or royal, salty or sweet, a girl of ever-changing things. Going upstairs to fencing with the boss is almost the same. Flaming Pegasus, can it stop my hell black phoenix claw? The frost giant says he doesn't want to talk to you. I'm envious, there are sky soldiers, and my golden behemoth can only stare at it. Are you speaking human language? One by one, the bosses with top arms and ace arms are here in Versailles. Weak question, is Hell Black Phoenix a mythical unit in legend? Looks like I'm not the only one who has acquired mythical units. Su-han thought silently. Su-han was a little disappointed about this, but it was not surprising. The dragon is a mythical unit, but there are still a few mythical creatures that can stand shoulder to shoulder with the dragon. For example, the Hell Black Phoenix, a proper mythical unit, is no worse than a giant dragon. Giants are the top arms, while frost giants are the ace arms. They are powerful. The growth body is the 6th level, and the full body can become a hero. The gold behemoth is 1 level higher than the frost giant, and it is a mythical unit. Behemoth is the king of the land, and those bronze and silver behemoths are the trump cards. Compared with the mythical arms, the ace arms are more arms below the top arms, especially the common arms and elite arms, accounting for more than 90%. What small skeletons, cavemen, slimes, barbarians, goblins, werewolves, fallen demons, grey dwarves, kobolds, choo-choos. There are currently 2 notable opponents. Su-han muttered. Su-han found that no other lord with mythical units blew himself up. Obviously, he wanted to hide his strength and bide his time, develop in a low-key way, and finally surprise everyone. Only lords with mythical arms deserve his attention and are qualified to compete with him. It's just a qualification. Although the mythical arms are powerful, the number bred every day is too small, and there is only one. In the case of the construction of the first level arms, 10 ordinary arms can be bred per day, 8 elite arms can be bred every day, 6 advanced arms can be bred every day, 4 top-level arms can be bred every day, 2 ace arms can be bred every day, and 1 mythical type can be bred every day. The quality is not enough, the quantity comes together. In a disguised form, shorten the gap between lords and give those ordinary lords a chance. If you can find more powerful arms during the novice protection period, there is no chance of rising. Those who have the same mythical troop as Su-han also currently only have 1 troop, but unlike Su-han, he has 10. Even if he is also the lord of a mythical unit, his starting point is 10 times higher, and the gap will be even greater in the future. During the 10-day novice protection period, he can get at least 100 dragons. If the ancestor dragon nest is upgraded to level 2 or even level 3, the number of dragons obtained will be more and the quality will be higher. To become a god is not my goal, but to be supreme. Su-han raised his head, his expression was extremely firm, his eyes seemed to break through the ceiling, and he saw the star realm full of the stars of the kingdom of God. The other side. 10 little white dragons flew out of the manor and entered the forest exuding a terrifying atmosphere, and Su-han was also reminded immediately. No. 1 Bailong led the Bailong team to advance more than 10 meters, and found 7 or 8 wild boars looking for food on the ground. 6 wild boars were more than 2 meters long, and the remaining 2 were 3 to 4 meters long. Attack. Eliminate these lowly creatures for the Lord. Number 1 Little White Dragon was the first to attack, and a strong and terrifying dragon's might bloomed from him, covering all the wild boars in an instant. The wild boars froze, unable to move in place, and their eyes were full of fear. They wanted to escape, but under the pressure of Longwei, they couldn't move at all, they could only howl crazily. In the next moment, a series of terrifying dragon powers came, and the other 9 little white dragons also activated their dragon powers. 10 dragon powers pressed on the wild boars, breaking their forelegs and leaving their bodies on the ground to be slaughtered. The other little white dragons wanted to kill these wild boars with their dragon breath, but they were immediately stopped by number 1 Little White Dragon. He stepped forward, 1 paw at a time, and crushed all the wild boars to death. Although the Lord did not order, he felt that the Lord should need these wild boar corpses. What's more, they are juvenile giant dragons now, they eat a lot and need a lot of food. Although breathing dragon's breath can instantly kill all wild boars, the corpses of these wild boars will not be left behind. In the manner, when the number 1 Little White Dragon killed the wild boar, Su-han immediately got a series of reminders, and there were also 8 streams of heat in his body, which made his physical fitness much stronger. Hint. Discover a new map, Forest of Fear. Hint. Kill the first order wild boar, magic power +1. Hint. Kill the first order wild boar, magic power +2. Hint. Kill the second order wild boar, magic power +1/2, magic stone +1. Hint. Kill the second tier wild boar, magic power +1/5, magic stone +1. There are a total of 9 reminders, 1 is a reminder of a new map, and the rest are kill reminders. Su-han found that the 8 first tier and second tier wild boars were killed almost instantly in a short period of time. An ordinary wild monster like a wild boar is completely indistinguishable from an ant in front of a giant dragon, even the white dragon known as the shame of the dragon. Su-han said with emotion that the giant dragon is worthy of being a mythical unit, and its life level surpasses that of wild boars countless times, and it is directly crushed. The 8 wild boars provided him with 37 points of magic power, which was not far from reaching the first level. Su-han was quite content, it was like lying down and becoming stronger. What made Su-han happy was that 2 magic stones burst out unexpectedly, which are rare resources. Su-han still remembered that the upgrade requirements for the ancestral dragon's nest required a total of 300 magic stones and 3 magic crystals. Now that he has only collected 2 magic stones, there is a long way to go. The magic crystal didn't even see the shadow. After that, Su-han checked the prompt panel while scrolling through the world channel, and found that a large number of kill prompts would appear every short period of time. Su-han will also harvest a lot of magic power, which will be integrated into his body to enhance his strength. After 20 minutes, a golden light flashed on Su-han's body, and he rose from level 0 to level 1, much stronger. Half an hour later, the central square of the manor. Su-han watched the little white dragons fly back from the outside, and each white dragon brought back 5 corpses, one in each of its 4 paws, and another in its mouth. 10 little white dragons went out for less than an hour and killed 50 wild monsters, which can be called a rewarding experience. Su-han was shocked. Can he still bring back the corpse of the wild monster like this? He looked at these little white dragons, and found that although they hadn't reached the 5th level, they had grown a meter or 2 in size. Although the white dragon is a juvenile body, it is still at the 4th level. It seems that killing some low-level monsters will not improve their strength much. According to the current progress, they still have to kill at least 200 first and second tier wild monsters to upgrade. Su-han had a headache. If it was a small white dragon, killing 50 wild monsters would be enough to raise him to level 5, but it would be far from enough to spread it among 10 white dragons. Do you want them to expand their hunting range? After thinking about it, Su-han still decided to focus on safety. Who knows if there will be high-level or even sanctuary monsters in the Forest of Fear. The speed of killing monsters by the 10 little white dragons is very fast. Even hunting 200 monsters is estimated to take up to 3 hours. The white dragon team put all the corpses on the square, put the magic stone on the other side, and stood respectfully in a row, waiting for Su-han's new order. Su-han looked at the monster corpses and magic stones in the square, with a smile on his face. He knew it from the reminder before. The white dragon team killed a total of 50 wild monsters during this trip, including wild boars, gray wolves, grizzly bears, and giant snakes. This promoted Su-han to Tier 1 and took a big step towards Tier 2, and also provided him with 18 magic stones. You guys are doing great. Now go on hunting wild monsters in the Dread Forest, and bring their corpses and dropped items back to the manor. Don't leave the manor too far, the hunting range is tentatively set within 3 kilometers. Su-han said to the 10 little white dragons. Obey, my lord. The 10 little white dragons responded respectfully, and then flapped their white wings and headed out of the manor. Afterwards, Su-han put away the 18 magic stones, and looked at the monster corpses piled up in half the square, and a prompt appeared in his vision. Hint: if you find a monster corpse, do you want to collect it? Collection. Su-han was overjoyed, and immediately said, so that he would not have to deal with the corpse. Successful collection. Get 87 units of pork. Get 120 units of wolf meat. Get 350 units of bear meat. Get 200 units of snake meat. Obtain 10 tough wild boar tusks and 8 complete wild boar skins. Obtain 22 sharp wolf teeth and 11 complete gray wolf skins. Obtain 14 sharp bear claws and 7 complete grizzly bear skins. Obtain 24 hard snake scales and 24 complete snake skins. A series of prompts appeared on Su-han's prompt panel, and the monster corpses in the square disappeared, leaving only a pile of food and materials. Then Su-han looked at the warehouse next to the square, and with a thought, the food and materials on the ground were stored in the warehouse. At this time, Su-han received more than a dozen kill prompts, and with a lot of magic power integrated into his body, a smile appeared on his face. He found a place to sit at random, and began to check the world channel, and the white dragon team brought back the spoils from time to time. There are too many monsters outside. My cavalry was crushed to death by a few bison as soon as they entered the grassland. Too dangerous. My Null warrior was killed by the red blood eagle that suddenly appeared, and even lost his spoils. Help, I just wanted to collect some wood, but the snake in the forest ate my militia. There are a few strange birds hundreds of meters in size hovering over the manor. I'm so scared. Is there any big brother to save the little girl? What are you guys? There is a black dragon castle on the top of my mountain, which just flew out and swallowed all the centaur archers I sent out to hunt. There are so many and strong monsters in the wild, how can we continue playing? I found a rule. It seems that the stronger the troops in the territory, the stronger the monsters around the territory. I also discovered that there are no powerful monsters such as strange birds and black dragons around my territory. Ha ha ha. This is simply the gospel of Africa. That's right, there must be corresponding monsters entrenched around those lords with ace arms and mythical arms, so as to suppress their development speed. It should be like this, otherwise we, ordinary soldiers and elite soldiers, have to deal with powerful monsters in the territory and just wait for death. After reading the information, Suhan's heart suddenly tightened. It seemed that his safe strategy was indeed correct. He has the mythical unit, Giant Dragon, and there are definitely powerful monsters in this fearful forest that can threaten his territory in the early stages. It could be Sanctuary, it could be Legendary, it could even be a stronger hero class. According to the division of the Eternal Continent, wild monsters and monsters are divided into 6 levels according to their strength. Levels 1 to 3 are ordinary monsters, levels 4 to 6 are elite monsters, level 7 is chieftain level, level 8 is chieftain level, level 9 is lord level, and then there are sanctuary level, legendary level, hero level, the king level, and finally the demigod level. Whether it is a sanctuary, a legend, or an extraordinary monster such as a hero, none of the current territories can fight against it. Although mythical units are powerful, they will become demigods when they grow to the limit, but they have to wait until they grow up. Suhan had already thought of the facial expressions of those lords with trump cards and mythical arms, they must be ugly. Owning super top-level arms does not directly soar into the sky, and there are still considerable restrictions. If there are too many waves, you will definitely suffer a big loss. Although he has 10 4th-level little white dragons, he is still far from being an opponent of sanctuary-level bosses, and can at most fight against high-level monsters. According to Suhan's estimate, the white dragon is a mythical weapon. A 4th-tier little white dragon should be able to fight against a 6th-tier elite monster. 10 little white dragons are enough to fight against a 7th-tier boss monster, and even kill it. Although there are huge dangers hidden in the depths of the Fear Forest, as long as I am more stable in the early stage, I may be able to push through before the end of the novice protection period. Suhan thought to himself. His advantage over other lords with mythic units grows over time. As time passed, the White Dragon team hunted wildly outside the territory, killing many 1st, 2nd, and even 3rd-tier ordinary monsters. The magic power obtained by Suhan has also increased, moving towards the 2nd level. 2 hours later, a golden light flashed across Suhan's body. He has been upgraded, from Tier 1 to Tier 2. After moving his body, Suhan felt that his physical fitness was at least 5 times stronger than that of the First Order. He opened the personal information panel and found that his attributes had improved a lot, and at the same time, the difficulty of rising to the 3rd level had also increased many times. Just as Suhan was feeling emotional, 10 figures flew in from the outside. It was his white dragon squad. At this time, the little white dragons were much larger, about 6 meters long, nearly 3 meters high, and their spread wings were several meters long. Obviously it has risen to the 5th level. 10 little white dragons put all the corpses and belongings on the square, and then stood respectfully in a row, waiting for Suhan's order. This is already the 3rd time that the White Dragon team has returned to the territory. Counting the harvest this time, they have hunted and killed more than 160 monsters. The corpses of these monsters piled up the entire central square, and Suhan couldn't help but smile when he saw it. A team of 10 little white dragons is so powerful. How powerful would it be if there was a legion of giant dragons in the future? A legion of demigod-level giant dragons, I am afraid that even gods can easily kill them. Looking at the items placed on the ground, Suhan put them all away. There are a total of 62 magic stones, and the most important thing is a magic crystal. Nearly 40% of the magic stone's explosion rate. Suhan felt that it was very high, but he didn't know if the other lords' explosion rates were the same. Suhan checked the kill prompt and found that the magic crystal was exploded by the White Dragon team killing a monster at the peak of Tier 3. Including the 18 magic stones he obtained before, he now has a total of 80 magic stones and 1 magic crystal. From the 300 magic stones and 3 magic crystals needed to upgrade the Ancestral Dragon's Nest, the requirement for 3 magic crystals is almost a third completed. One must know that less than 3 hours have passed since they landed on the Eternal Continent. Su-han reckoned that on the first day, he would be able to gather the resources to upgrade the ancestral dragon nest to level 2. If the other lords found out, they would definitely be taken aback and shocked. They are still struggling to survive, and Su-han is about to be promoted to the building of the unit. Even those lords who also have mythical arms are now struggling to let the arms hunt and slowly collect supplies. After all, not everyone is like Su-han, who has 10 4th-tier dragon units on the first day, and everyone else only has one dragon-like unit. Although they are all tier 4, how can one tier 4 kill monsters faster than 10 tier 4s? Looking at the monster corpses piled up in the square, Su-han looked at the little white dragons standing in a row, and said with a smile. You guys are doing really well. All grizzly bear carcasses are rewarded to you, eat as much as you want. Thank you Lord. The 10 little white dragons said respectfully, and then, already hungry, they flew towards the grizzly bear's corpse and began to devour it. Su-han had seen it before, and this time he hunted a total of 21 grizzly bears. Most of them were second-tier bears, and there were 2 third-tier grizzlies that were even bigger. If it is collected, there will be at least thousands of units of bear meat. If it is sold on the trading plane, it will definitely make a lot of money. Su-han has no regrets. Although the giant dragon can eat and has a huge appetite, it is also strong. Only when it is full can it continue to hunt monsters outside its territory and hunt more food and resources for him. If the dragon is not given food for the sake of small gains, it will cause the dragon's combat effectiveness to decline, and its loyalty to the Lord will also decrease. The loss outweighs the gain. Then Su-han looked at more than 100 monster corpses in the square, including 5 kinds of monsters including gray wolf, wild boar, giant snake, violent rabbit, and fire feather eagle. Su-han took a little time to collect all the corpses. In the end, he obtained a total of 1,300 units of meat, dozens of furs, and hundreds of monster materials. All the things are stored in the curry side of the warehouse by him, waiting to be used later. After waiting for about 5 minutes, all the white dragons finished eating, and their size became much larger again, looking stronger. Su-han asked the white dragon team, have you finished hunting the monsters within 3 kilometers of the territory? My lord, following your instructions, we have already wiped out all the monsters within 3 kilometers to the east of the territory. Please give us some more time. We will definitely be able to clear the low-level monsters within 3 kilometers of the territory within today. The number 1 white dragon came out and responded respectfully, with a little apprehension on his face, afraid of offending the Lord. Su-han was a little surprised when he heard this. He thought there were more than 200 monsters within 3 kilometers, but only a quarter of them had been cleared. When the monsters within 3 kilometers of the territory are cleared, even if the white dragons can't rise to the 6th level, they probably won't be far away. And he himself can definitely be promoted to the 3rd level, or even the 4th level. Keep hunting. Obey, my lord. The 10 little white dragons responded respectfully, and then flew towards the south outside the manor. After a while, several killing prompts appeared on Su-han's prompt panel, and several magical powers poured into his body, enhancing his strength. Su-han didn't care about these, but set his sights on upgrading the manor. Compared with upgrading the Zulong nest, upgrading the manor is infinitely easier, only needing 1,000 units of wood and 500 units of stone. The most indispensable thing in this fearful forest is wood, and stones are also easy to mine, which is much simpler than obtaining magic stones and magic crystals. After all, there is no magic stone mine for him to collect magic stones. Even if he finds it, the current strength of the Supreme Hall cannot hold it, so he can only honestly kill monsters and explode magic stones and magic crystals. Su-han had already prepared for the resources needed to upgrade the manor. His giant dragon must not be able to collect stones and log. The price-performance ratio is too low, and it is far inferior to hunting. Hunting can not only upgrade the dragon and his lord, but also bring back a large amount of meat, materials, and magic stones and crystals. It is even possible to reveal equipment, blueprints and so on. Opening the trading plane, there are indeed a lot of information about selling goods, including stone, wood, and even iron ore, as well as materials for various monsters, but there is no food. 8 units of wood are exchanged for 1 unit of food. 4 units of stone are exchanged for 1 unit of food. 2 units of iron ore are exchanged for 1 unit of food. Su-han is not surprised by this situation. After all, there are tens of billions of lords in the Eternal Continent, and there may not even be 1 in 10,000 who can get the top arms, trump cards and mythical arms. The lord who owns these 3 types of arms can get a lot of food on the first day, and the rest can be sold in addition to meeting the needs of the arms. It is estimated that the monsters hunted by the advanced arms and elite arms in the early stage can barely maintain a balance, and the lords of the advanced arms may have a little leftover. The lords of the ordinary arms are the most numerous. There are a lot of wild monsters outside the territory, and they are still in groups. It is much more difficult for them to hunt monsters. It is possible to hunt down a team of monsters, and several of the 10 units of oneself will be damaged, or even the entire army may be wiped out. Another part of ordinary lords can collect wild vegetables and wild fruits, but the wild is very dangerous and may be attacked by monsters at any time. The vast majority of lords who could not obtain food sources focused on resources such as timber, stone, and iron ore. With these resources in exchange for food, as long as you survive the first day, the second day, the number of arms will increase, and you can still develop. Normally, the exchange rate between food and timber, stone, iron ore and other resources should not be so large, but whoever made the most lacking in the early days was food, and there were at least billions of lords who could not get food. This shows that food is very cherished, and the exchange rate is extremely high. Looking at the sales information on the trading plane, Su-han was not in a hurry to buy. Even though he saw that many of the items for sale kept disappearing, it was obvious that they were bought by other lords. He also saw some lords selling food on the trading plane, but they would be sold out after just hanging it up for a few seconds. The food sold is only a dozen units, tens of hundreds of units, and the largest one is more than 200 units. It is far worse than the food reserves he has. Su-han planned to take advantage of the lack of food for most of the lords in the first 2 days to earn a lot of resources. Maybe he can earn resources from manors to towns and even higher levels, as well as magic stones and magic crystals for upgrading arms buildings. After all, his team of white dragons is very powerful. They hunted more than 2,000 units of food for him in 3 hours, not including those eaten by the white dragons. Thinking of this, Su-han opened a shop on the trading plane and posted the trading information on it. According to the rules, each lord can have a shop on the trading plane to sell items or buy items. The name of the shop is the name of the territory. Store name: Supreme Palace. Items for sale: 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 10 units of wood. 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 5 units of stone. 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 3 units of iron ore. 5 units of food can be exchanged for 1 magic stone. 20 units of food can be exchanged for a magic crystal. Number of food: 2057 units. Su-han didn't set the price very high, it was just higher than the market price, which was considered as a plan for the future. He also posted the information about the purchase of magic stones and magic crystals, just with a little hope, but he also knew that it was unlikely to be exchanged. After all, magic stones and magic crystals are much more expensive than food, and lords who own magic stones and magic crystals generally have no shortage of food. Unless they live in a bad environment, the wild monsters they kill cannot be eaten, or the troops eat a lot. As soon as Su-han's transaction information was posted, it immediately caused an uproar and shocked countless lords. Then, in just 10 seconds, more than 2,000 units of his food were sold out. Although Su-han's food is more expensive than the market price, it is only a little more expensive, and it is still within the acceptable range of the lords. This surprised Su-han. The food market is still very large, and this is the opportunity for him to earn a lot of resources. Sell 30 units of food, get 150 units of stone. Sell 10 units of food, get 100 units of wood. Sell 15 units of food, get 45 units of iron ore. Sell 50 units of food, get 10 magic stones. A series of transaction information prompts appeared, and Su-han looked at it with a smile on his face. 2057 units of food, and finally obtained 10,000 units of wood, 3,000 units of stone, 1,200 units of iron ore and 10 magic stones. All exchanged resources are automatically stored in the warehouse. The warehouse of the territory is different from other buildings. It is a small secret area with a large space, and it will expand as the territory is upgraded. There are hundreds of transaction information prompts, but only one is food purchased by a certain lord with magic stones. Although there are not many magic stones, Suhan is quite happy, at least there is one more source of magic stones. The White Dragon squad hadn't returned yet, and Suhan wasn't in a hurry to upgrade the manor, so he turned on the world channel. Nest grass. Giants appear on the trading plain. I saw it, selling more than 2,000 units of food at one time. The giant is worthy of the name. In just 3 hours after the arrival, you can hunt more than 2,000 units of food, which is terrible. Looking up to the giant Suhan. The giant Suhan is really my savior. My soldiers are so hungry that they are about to rebel. I happened to see the giant sell food, and bought 14 units without saying anything. Ha ha ha, I also changed to 5 units of food. What kind of animals are you all, so fast? Over 2,000 units of food were bought in just 10 seconds. 30 years of Keelan Arm to learn more. I'm so hungry, I really want to eat. Which boss is willing to provide food? The little girl can kneel and lick it. Kneel and lick, this literal meaning or that literal meaning? The territory of the giant Suhan is called Supreme Palace, such a lofty name. I don't know what kind of troops he has. I guess his unit is the Ace unit. The layout of the upstairs is small. The giant Suhan definitely has mythical arms. Ahem, is there a possibility that his troops are higher than mythical ones? Don't be ridiculous, the highest level of the unit is the mythical level, how can it be higher? I agree with the statement above. My troop is also at the mythical level, and I am also selling food, but the total number of sales in these 3 hours is less than 300 units. Hiss, first of all, I would like to pay tribute to the boss upstairs, and then I guess the mythical unit of the giant Suhan is the kind that can kill monsters in a large area, so it is so vigorous. Speaking of which, what is the magic crystal? What are you using it for? I do know magic stones. I need 70 magic stones to upgrade my high-level units. I only need 30 magic stones to upgrade the buildings of ordinary units. Magic crystals are the resources needed only for the upgrade of Ace Arms and Mythical Arms. My Ace Arms building upgrade requires 100 magic stones and 1 magic crystal. Suhan is famous. Over 2,000 units of food were sold in the first 3 hours, shocking all the lords. If the ordinary lords knew that Suhan had given thousands of units of food to the dragon, they would be even more shocked. The territory of Supreme Palace is also spread among the lords of the Eternal Continent, and it has also entered the eyes of those lords who have Ace Arms and Mythical Arms, and are regarded by them as a great enemy on the road to hegemony. These lord-level lords are all curious about what kind of troops Suhan's territory is, and they have their own guesses, but they can't guess it from the name of the territory alone. Suhan was in the limelight, but he also spurred some big boss-level lords, making those lords with mythical-level arms, or even the only mythical-level arms, full of fighting spirit. Suhan didn't know this. After watching the World Channel for a while, he closed it casually, and then opened the friend list. It is found that tens of millions of lords want to add him as friends, and as time goes by, more and more lords want to add him as friends. Suhan took a cursory glance and jotted down some keywords, such as Red Dragon Castle, Witch's House, Castle in the Sky, Golden Royal Court, Valkyrie Temple, Sanctuary, Heaven Mountain, and so on. From the names of these territories, he can probably guess what kind of troops those lords have. At least they are ace troops. For some reason, Suhan didn't refuse, but didn't accept their friend request either. After closing the friends list, Suhan was going to the center of the manor to upgrade the manor, when he saw 10 white dragons flying from outside the territory, carrying a large number of monster corpses. My lord, go, continue to clear the threats around the territory. As ordered. After receiving Suhan's response, the 10 white dragons headed out of the territory again to continue hunting. After looking at the monster corpses piled up in the square, Suhan didn't collect them immediately, but went to the center of the manor. When he came to the core crystal, a prompt popped up in front of Suhan. Territory upgrade conditions are met. Do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade, Suhan said immediately. After the words fell, a white light bloomed from the core crystal, instantly covering the entire manor. The manor suddenly tripled in size, and the buildings inside looked much more beautiful. Then a series of prompts appeared, and Su-han opened them casually. Consume 1,000 units of wood and 500 units of stone, the upgrade is successful. Your supreme palace has been upgraded to a large manor. The scope of your territory has expanded to a radius of 300 meters. Your core crystal defense value has increased to 300. Your territory, the Supreme Hall, has a little fame and influence in the Forest of Fear. After reading the prompt, Su-han found that the defense value of the core crystal seemed to be linked to the territory. And the core crystal in front of him has also changed from colorless before the upgrade to pale white. Are you only famous and influential in the Forest of Fear? Su-han was not surprised by this result. There were tens of billions of lords in the Eternal Continent, many of whom had mythical arms. These lords have sold food one after another before, and exchanged for a lot of wood and stone, and the upgrade is expected. But can he be faster behind? Su-han casually opened the territory information to check. Supreme Palace. Territory level. Large manor. Territory range. 300 meters in radius. Ordinary buildings. Manor center, warehouse. Soldier building. Ancestral dragon nest, mythical unique. Territory characteristic. Invincible, remaining 9 days, 20 hours and 06 minutes. Next level. Small castle. Upgrade conditions. 4,000 units of wood, 2,000 units of stone, 500 units of iron ore. Affiliation. None. The next level is the primary castle. Do you need 4,000 units of wood, 2,000 units of stone, and 500 units of iron ore to upgrade? It turns out that the role of iron ore is here. Fortunately, I bought a lot in advance. Su-han calculated and found that his remaining resources were enough to upgrade the territory to a small castle. He had 10,000 units of timber, 3,000 units of stone, and 1,200 units of iron ore. After upgrading the territory, there are still 9,000 units of wood, 2,500 units of stone, and 1,200 units of iron ore. Territory upgrade conditions are met. Do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade, Su-han said without hesitation. In the next moment, white light bloomed from the core crystal, covering the entire territory. Then, the appearance of the entire territory changed drastically, turning into a small castle. The castle is 3 times larger than the large manor, and the buildings inside are also completely new. Consume 4,000 units of wood, 2,000 units of stone, and 500 units of iron ore, the upgrade is successful. Your supreme palace has been upgraded to a small castle. The scope of your territory has expanded to a radius of 1 kilometer. Your core crystal defense value has been increased to 1,000. The reputation and influence of the Supreme Hall of your territory in the Forest of Fear has increased slightly. Pity. Su-han sighed, looked at the core crystal that changed from light white to white, and there was no other hint. He is definitely the first lord to upgrade to a small castle, but there is no reward for that. Supreme Palace. Territory level. Small castle. Territory range. 1,000 meters in radius. Common buildings. Castle center, warehouse. Soldier building. Ancestral dragon nest, mythical unique. Territory characteristic. Invincible, remaining 9 days, 20 hours and 04 minutes. Next level. Large castle. Upgrade conditions. 10,000 units of wood, 5,000 units of stone, 1,000 units of iron ore. Affiliation. None. Looking at the remaining resources, there are only 5,000 units of wood, 500 units of stone and 700 units of iron ore, not enough to upgrade to a large castle. Su-han walked out of the center of the castle and stood outside the door, carefully observing the situation in the territory. He found that the center of the castle had changed from 1 floor of a small manor to 3 floors, and it had become even larger, made of wood, stone and iron ore. The material of the warehouse has also changed, and the volume of the small secret realm inside has also expanded many times. The central square expanded from about 50 meters in diameter to 500 meters in diameter, and the monster corpses that had piled up nearly half of the square now only occupied a corner of the square. The entire castle is 9 times larger than before, covering an area of 700 to 800 meters. Outside the castle, there is still a small part of the territory covered by the novice protection barrier. Careful Su-han discovered that there was a moat outside the castle, which was 3 meters wide and 2 meters deep, and the water was crystal clear. Seeing the changed territory, Su-han smiled and felt a sense of accomplishment in his heart. This is his castle, his territory. The small castle is just the beginning. Strive to upgrade the territory to a city, or even the main city at the end of the novice protection period. Su-han said excitedly, setting a small goal for himself. According to the division of the Eternal Continent, territories can be divided into manors, castles, towns, cities, main cities, capitals, principalities, kingdoms, empires, and finally the Kingdom of God. In these 10 levels, each level has its own subdivision, such as manors and castles are divided into small and large. Towns and cities, as well as the main city, are divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary. Su-han looked up at the sky and found that it was almost noon. So he came to the square and collected all the monster corpses piled up in a corner of the square. A total of 800 units of food, as well as varying amounts of fur and materials, were all stored in the warehouse by him. In addition, he also obtained 35 magic stones, but unfortunately there were no magic crystals. Su-han didn't sell the food right away, and was going to sell it together when there were more of them. Selling it now might not be enough to upgrade the territory again. Then Su-han found a piece of delicious meat, entered the kitchen in the center of the castle, and started making lunch. South of the territory, about 2 kilometers away, a battle is taking place here. It was a centaur lair, with a large number of centaur entrenched. The White Dragon team pushed all the way from the west of the territory. The centaur lairs they have encountered so far are the largest in number and the strongest. There are nearly 80 centaurs here, including an elite-level centaur with 4th-tier strength. In addition, there are 10 third-order centaurs, more than 20 second-order centaurs, and the rest are first-order centaurs. Although the number of centaurs is large, their life level and level are far from those of the White Dragon Squad, and they cannot threaten the White Dragon Squad at all. Kill them all. No. One White Dragon immediately issued an order. Ho 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 ho. Ho ho. Ho ho. The 10 white dragons roared, flapping their wings, and rushed towards the centaur's lair. There are monsters. The monster is coming. Everyone, defend yourself. Form a defensive formation immediately. Quote. Centaurs are intelligent creatures with a certain amount of intelligence, not just wild monsters, they are one of the native forces of the Dread Forest. Long way. After the 10 white dragons flew to a certain distance, they immediately released their dragon power, and most of the centaurs were immediately suppressed, kneeling on all fours and trembling. Only those 3rd-tier centaurs and 4th-tier elite centaurs were still able to move. They threw their spears at the white dragons, but they were easily slapped away by the white dragons. The White Dragon Squad rushed forward, raised its paws and slapped a centaur to death. Only a 4th-order centaur was still active on the field. Soon, the 4th-tier centaur elite was also killed. The rest of the centaurs suppressed by Longwei were quickly killed by the 10 white dragons. The battle was overwhelmed by absolute strength and ended in less than a minute. If they didn't want the corpses of these centaurs, the white dragons only needed to breathe out their dragon's breath, and they would be able to kill all the centaurs in less than 10 seconds. After the battle was won, the White Dragon team began to clean the battlefield, collected all the dropped items, and then returned to the territory with nearly 80 centaur corpses. Inside the high hall, Su-han had just finished his lunch and was about to eat when he saw a series of kill prompts coming from the information panel. Hint: your unit White Dragon team found a centaur lair. Hint: kill the 3rd-order centaur, get 22 magic power, magic stone +1. Hint: kill the 3rd-order centaur, get 25 magic power, magic stone +1. Hint: kill the 4th-tier elite centaur, get 78 magic power, magic stone +2, magic crystal +1. Su-han glanced at it casually, and a smile suddenly appeared on his face. This time, the White Dragon team killed a tier 4 elite centaur and dropped a magic crystal. Sweeping out nearly 80 centaurs provided Su-han with a lot of magic power, making his rank 50% higher than the 2nd rank. Centaur lair. Is this centaur an intelligent creature? Su-han frowned slightly, guessing in his heart. Then Su-han speeded up his meal. After eating, he went to the central square and waited for the White Dragon team to return. Soon, the White Dragon team returned to the Supreme Hall, and hundreds of monster corpses were piled up in the central square. Most of them are centaurs, and a few are wild boars and grey wolves. After growing to the 5th level, the white dragons became much bigger, their strength increased several times, and the number of corpses they could bring back also doubled. The territory has been upgraded. There is a moat outside the castle, where you can drink water. Su-han said to the white dragon team. Obey, my lord. Letting the white dragon squad continue to hunt, Su-han began to skillfully collect monster corpses and obtained a lot of resources. A total of 1,300 units of food were obtained, plus hundreds of units of various monster materials, all of which were stored in the warehouse. What pleased Su-han the most was that he got 49 magic stones and 1 magic crystal this time. Now he has 173 magic stones and 2 magic crystals in his hand, not far from the 300 magic stones and 3 magic crystals needed to upgrade the ancestor dragon nest. If everything goes well, he will be able to upgrade the ancestral dragon nest to the 2nd level today. In this way, the dragons bred in the ancestral dragon nest tomorrow may be more numerous and more advanced, which will double or triple the strength of the territory. Afterwards, Su-han put all the food in the shops on the trading plane for sale, and the exchange ratio was the same as before. Store name: Supreme Palace. Items for sale: 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 10 units of wood. 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 5 units of stone. 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 3 units of iron ore. 5 units of food can be exchanged for 1 magic stone. 20 units of food can be exchanged for a magic crystal. Amount of food: 2,100 units. Although it is slightly more expensive than the market price, countless lords can accept it. Who makes food in short supply? Sure enough, as Su-han expected, the 2,100 units of food were all sold out in less than 5 seconds after he put the food on the shelf. Many lords who dare not go out and have been staying in the territory are either checking the world channel or paying attention to the trading plane. Once they find that there is food, they will rush to buy it as soon as possible. Even so, only a very small number of lords bought food. After all, Su-han only put 2,100 units of food on the shelves. Seeing that the shelves were sold out, Su-han smiled and then counted the harvest. Sell 2,100 units of food, and get a total of 9,000 units of wood, 4,000 units of stone, and 1,200 units of iron ore. Wood is the easiest to obtain, followed by stone, and finally iron ore, so the value of the 3 gradually increases. To Su-han's slight disappointment, this time there were no big boss lords to exchange magic stones for food. Counting the remaining wood, stone and iron ore in his warehouse, Su-han now has a total of 14,000 units of wood, 4,500 units of stone and 1,900 units of iron ore. The conditions for upgrading the Supreme Palace to a large castle are 10,000 units of wood, 5,000 units of stone and 1,000 units of iron ore. Both timber and iron ore were redundant, and he was only short of 500 units of iron ore to upgrade his territory to a large castle. The giant dragon was still hunting outside, and Su-han, who was a little bored, turned on the World Channel, planning to learn some information about the Eternal Continent through the World Channel. According to the rules of the World Channel, each lord can only speak 3 times a day. If he wants to speak after the opportunity is exhausted, he will have to consume magic stones. Currently, 1 magic stone can only speak 1 more time. The magic stones in the novice protection period are undoubtedly extremely precious, and no lord will spend them on extra speeches. 2,100 units of food were stolen in 4 seconds. What kind of animals are you? Open your eyes, your hand speed is faster than before grabbing red envelopes. Hee, Wei Wei finally bought some food, and finally doesn't have to go hungry, so happy. I've been hungry for a long time, my refugees are about to go on strike, they won't leave me without food, right? Ha ha ha, fortunately, my undead bat doesn't need to eat. It's not that I'm spraying you, even if you can't kill wild monsters, you can't go out to pick some wild vegetables, wild fruits, or other food. 2 of my farmers were swallowed by a gorilla that suddenly appeared while picking wild fruits. My condolences upstairs. Su-han giant is really strong. Last time 2,000 units of food were sold in 3 hours, this time 2,100 units of food were sold in 2 hours. I really want to hug Su-han's giant thigh. It's a pity that the giant didn't agree to my friend request. What is the troop type of giant Su-han? It's so powerful, killing monsters faster and faster. kneeling to beg Su-han to show up and answer. 1 blood book. 2 blood books. Thousands of blood books. Based on the existing information, it can be inferred that the soldiers of the giant Su-han are mythical, and there should be no more than 10 mythical soldiers, so it is easy to find out. Give upstairs a ruthless kick. I can't find it. Although there are no more than 10 types of mythical arms, there are many branches. It is not an exaggeration to say that there are hundreds or thousands. I agree with the above. I own the mythical arms of 4 winged archangels. As far as I know, angels are divided into 2 winged angels and 4 winged archangels. At least 10 lords can get the mythical troop angel. In addition, there are fallen angels, which are also divided according to their wings, and they are also mythical units. Surprised to discover the boss with the 4-winged archangel of the mythical unit. The big guy is right. Giant dragons, golden behemoths, high-level demons, high-level devils, high-level undead, angels, titans, etc. are all mythical arms, and among them, there are 5 color dragons, metal dragons, gemstone dragons and other high-level dragons. Dragons, these are mythical arms. It is said that the fastest way to kill low-level monsters is the giant dragon. Countless people can be killed with 1 mouthful of dragon breath. Makes sense. Su-han's unit turned out to be a giant dragon. On the contrary, I don't think his unit is a giant dragon. Although the breath of a giant dragon kills monsters quickly, it won't leave any corpses. Mr. Su-han sells a lot of food. After swiping the world channel, Su-han couldn't help admiring the reasoning of these people, which almost exposed his arms. Sure enough, among the tens of billions of lords, there are masters who are good at reasoning from clues. Fortunately, a lord helped him get back, otherwise the other lords would know that his unit is a dragon, and he lost an information advantage. A giant dragon would be much slower to kill monsters without its breath, but I have 10 dragons. Su-han said with a smile. No one knew that he actually had the cheat of 10 times increase. Su-han did not speak on the world channel, but just watched the screen silently and obtained a lot of useful information. His understanding of mythical arms has deepened, but he has no worries. So what if there are really thousands of lords with mythical arms? His ancestral dragon nest is the only mythical unit that can breed all dragons in the multiverse. He also has 10 times the golden finger of the sky-defying power, which is enough to grow rapidly, become a god, and win the first place in the struggle for hegemony among all races. Even if he is fighting other lords now, he can single out 10 lords with mythical arms. This is still the first day, and as time goes by, his territory will develop faster and faster, and even the lord with mythical arms will be left far behind by him. Time flies. An hour later, the White Dragon team cleared the wild monsters within 3 kilometers to the south of the territory. 2 more hours later, the Beilong team killed all the wild monsters within 3 kilometers to the west of the territory. A golden light lit up on Su-han's body, and his level had been raised from the 2nd level to the 3rd level. His strength had been greatly improved, and his attributes had increased by 5 or 6 times compared to the 2nd level. Another 3 hours later, the White Dragon team returned from the north of the castle with a lot of loot, and had already cleared out the wild monsters within 3 kilometers to the north. Although the 10 white dragons of the White Dragon squad have not been promoted to the 6th rank, they are not far away, and their size has grown a lot, nearly 9 meters in length and 4 or 5 meters in height. Su-han distributed part of the monster corpses to the white dragons to eat, and then collected the rest of the monster corpses with ease, and decomposed them into food and various materials. Since selling food at noon, Su-han has not sold any more. He is planning a big one, so he has stocked up a lot of food. The monsters within 3 kilometers to the west and north of the entire territory, plus some monsters within 3 kilometers to the south, provided Su-han with a total of 8,600 units of food and thousands of units of various kinds of food, excluding the food for the dragons. Material. He also obtained a large number of magic stones and crystals, a total of 212 magic stones and 2 magic crystals. In addition, he also got a blueprint, which surprised Su-han. Glancing at the eating dragon, Su-han began to think about territory upgrades and troop building upgrades. At present, his territory is still 500 iron ore short of the conditions for upgrading to a large castle. Now he has 8,000 units of food. Su-han reckoned that the purchased wood, stone and iron ore would be enough for the Supreme Hall to be promoted to the town. The conditions for upgrading the ancestral dragon nest to level 2 are 300 magic stones and 3 magic crystals. He now has a total of 385 magic stones and 4 magic crystals, which is enough to upgrade the ancestral dragon nest to level 2. Su-han didn't immediately upgrade the ancestral dragon's nest. It's useless to upgrade now. The new dragon will be bred tomorrow, so he is not in a hurry. Then he put all 8,000 units of food on the shelves for sale in the store and marked them. Ordinary food is still sold according to the previous ratio, and he still has 50 units of elite meat in his hand. After eating this kind of meat, it can increase the magic power in the body and accelerate the improvement of strength, but the elite meat can only increase the magic power by eating the first 5 units. Even so, the value of this kind of meat is far higher than that of ordinary meat. So Su-han positioned its selling price as 1 unit of elite meat can be exchanged for 20 units of wood. 1 unit of elite meat can be exchanged for 10 units of stones. 1 unit of elite meat can be exchanged for 6 units of iron ore. 3 units of elite meat can be exchanged for a magic stone. 10 units of elite meat can be exchanged for a magic crystal. Food storage, 50 units. Remarks: after eating elite meat, the magic power can be increased, and the first 5 units are effective. Su-han just put all the food on the shelves, and in less than 2 minutes, all the food was snapped up. Although it took a lot slower, it was also expected by Su-han. It's almost night now, and other lords with top-level arms are still selling food, and some lords are also looking for another way out. This has led to a much lower market demand for food, but the supply is still in short supply. After all, ordinary lords who cannot get food still account for the majority. This situation will not be alleviated until the second day, will be greatly reduced on the third day, and supply and demand will basically be balanced on the fourth day. At that time, it is impossible to sell at a high price. On the World Channel, the conversation is in full swing at this time, and everyone is discussing Su-han, the Supreme Palace, and 8,000 units of food. Su-han is completely famous. In the first day, more than 12,000 units of food were sold, which is beyond the food of the lord and troops, and no one can match it. Even a lord with mythical arms can sell only 1/10 of Su-han's food in one day. Because of this, Su-han was completely noticed by those big boss-level powerhouses who stood at the top of the lord. The main material world, the Plain of Despair. A battle was taking place at this time. A tall behemoth was killing several cheetahs. It had a golden color on its body. It is the king of Behemoth, the golden behemoth. If Behemoth is the king of the land, then the golden behemoth is the king of kings, the strongest mythical unit. The golden behemoth, which was more than 10 meters high, easily killed 4 tier 2 cheetahs with one palm. Allard, take the prey and go to the next place. At this time, a figure sitting on Beeman's shoulder spoke, and Golden Beeman instantly grabbed the 4 cheetah carcasses and headed towards other prey. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the lord's name is Ji Yu Chang, who owns the mythical unit Golden Behemoth. At this time, he has already been promoted to the first rank, and he has taken a big step towards the second rank. After seeing the chat information on the World Channel, Ji Yu Chang frowned. Su-han from the High Hall. Interesting. Selling tens of thousands of units of food in one day, how many monsters do you have to kill? I don't know how his mythical arms compare with my golden behemoth. Ji Yu Chang just thought about it for a while, then put it behind him and continued to kill monsters. Everyone is a mythical unit. Ji Yu Chang doesn't think he is inferior to Su-han. Su-han's unit can kill monsters faster at most. Another place, the Grand Canyon of the Storm. The Lord Li Wanqing is taking his mythical unit Hurricane Titan to kill the monsters in the canyon. His level is also the first level, and it exceeds the first level by 50%. Hurricane Titan does not use body collision like Golden Beeman, he prefers to use Titan magic to hunt and kill monsters, so it is more efficient. Supreme Palace. What a big tone. Li Wanqing was a little displeased with Su-han, who was so showy, mainly because he stole his limelight. Just wait. No matter what your mythical unit is, it will be defeated by my Hurricane Titan. The first floor of the underground world. A woman with a stunning face is staying in the territory, checking the kill prompt while paying attention to the World Channel. Su-han, I remember. Shui Qingqiu pursed his lips, looking like a royal sister, full of charm. Her unit is also a mythical unit, named Dark Moon Elf, which is a high elf among the dark elves. The third floor of Purgatory, the Great Swamp of Bones. What a Su-han, dare to be the first bird, I will look for you in the future. Lin Changsheng sneered, his rank had already been raised to the second rank. He has the Tower of Undead, a mythical unit building, and it is a unique unit building. He can summon all undead. Therefore, Lin Changsheng had great ambitions, and planned to find an opportunity to invade the main material world after gaining a firm foothold in the Purgatory world. Su-han was the first target he planned to deal with. Doomsday Volcano, Heaven Mountain, 5th floor of Hell, 9th floor of Abyss, Natural Forest. Black dragons, angels, high devils, high demons, high elves. All the lords with mythical arms paid attention to Su-han, and regarded Su-han as their goal to defeat in the future, and became a stepping stone for them to become gods. Su-han didn't know about this, and even if he knew, he didn't care. Currently, he was happily counting the harvest of selling food. By selling 8,000 units of food this time, he got a total of 40,000 units of wood, 15,500 units of stone and 3,100 units of iron ore. Although he didn't get magic stones and magic crystals, Su-han wasn't disappointed either. His current magic stones and crystals were enough to upgrade the Zulong nest to level 2. With excitement, Su-han came to the center of the castle, the core crystal. The territory upgrade conditions have been met, do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade. Without hesitation, Su-han said directly. The core crystal suddenly bloomed with white light, covering the entire territory, causing the territory to expand and the castle to become larger. Soon, a large castle appeared in place, 3 or 4 times larger than before, and the buildings in the castle were more beautiful. Consume 10,000 units of wood, 5,000 units of stone, and 1,000 units of iron ore, the upgrade is successful. Your supreme palace has been upgraded to a large castle. The scope of your territory has expanded to a radius of 3 kilometers. Your core crystal defense value has been increased to 3,000. The reputation and influence of the supreme hall of your territory in the Forest of Fear has increased slightly. When the white light dissipated, the core crystal in front of Su-han suddenly turned light red, and he also received a message prompt. Supreme Palace. Territory level. Large castle. Territory range. 3 kilometers in radius. Common buildings. Castle center, warehouse. Soldier building. Ancestral dragon nest mythical unique. Territory characteristic. Invincible remaining 9 days, 13 hours and 12 minutes. Next level. First level town. Upgrade conditions. 40,000 units of wood, 20,000 units of stone, 4,000 units of iron ore, 500 units of refined iron. Affiliation. None. Do you need refined iron to upgrade your territory to a town? After closing the territory panel, Su-han looked at the remaining resources in the warehouse. Excluding the resources consumed by upgrading large castles, there are still 44,000 units of wood, 15,000 units of stone and 4,000 units of iron ore in the warehouse. The timber and iron ore needed to upgrade the territory to a first-level town are just enough, but there are still 5,000 units of stone, and there is a new refined iron. Refined iron should be a higher-level resource than ordinary iron ore. I don't know if it is sold on the trading plane now. Su-han secretly thought. Upgrading a large castle to a Tier 1 town requires more resources than he estimated, which defeats Su-han's goal of continuous upgrading. Then Su-han opened the trading plane, glanced at it briefly, and found that there was no refined iron for sale. So he searched for the keyword, fine iron, and a lot of transaction information popped up immediately. Su-han continued to screen, and in the end only 13 shops were left with sales information. These are all shops that sell refined iron. Chapter 11. The name of the first store is House of the Grey Dwarves. The second shop is named Dwarf Hut. The third shop is named Goblin Capital. The name of the 13th shop, Dolly Blacksmith Shop. Su-han browsed one by one, and found that these shops did not sell much refined iron, only a few units, and the most was 12 units of refined iron. The soldiers of these lords should be dwarves, grey dwarves, goblins, and blacksmiths of various races who are good at forging weapons. Su-han made a guess. There are actually quite a few of this kind of arms among the tens of billions of lords, but these 13 lords are leading and can already refine refined iron. Maybe there are some lords who refined the refined iron, they either sold it, or maybe they don't plan to sell it now. Su-han didn't buy the refined iron. On the one hand, the price was a bit high, and on the other hand, he had no food for the time being. The asking price of refined iron in these shops is generally between 1 unit of refined iron for 2 units of food, and there are even 2 shops that price 1 unit of refined iron for 3 units of food. Refined iron does not have a good value proposition for the time being, mainly because other lords do not know what refined iron is used for. Even if some lords guess that refined iron is a resource needed to upgrade the territory later, they will never buy it. Because they have to buy other resources first, such as wood, stone and iron ore, and upgrade the territory first, otherwise it is useless to take a pile of refined iron. After closing the trading plane, Su-han glanced at the friend list again, and the number of requests to add him as a friend has exceeded 176 million. Su-han glanced briefly, then closed the friend list, and didn't agree to anyone's request. Now is not the time. Then Su-han came to the square. Go hunting and try to come back before dark. Su-han gave instructions to the White Dragon team. Now the 9 great suns are about to fall, and there is about an hour before nightfall. Although he didn't know what danger would be in the night, Su-han instinctively felt that it would be better for the dragon to come back earlier. If it weren't for the need for food to buy stones and refined iron, and to meet the feeding needs of the giant dragon at night, he didn't even want the White Dragon team to go hunting. Obey, my lord. The 10 white dragons responded respectfully, and then headed out of the territory. Looking at the 10-meter-long giant dragons, the wingspan alone is more than 10 meters, they are simply giants. Then Su-han set his sights on the ancestral dragon's nest in the center of the square. Now he has 385 magic stones and 4 magic crystals, which have already met the upgrade standard of the Zulong nest. Sure enough, when Su-han set his eyes on the Zulong nest, an upgrade prompt popped up. The upgrade conditions for the ancestral dragon nest have been met. Do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade. Without the slightest hesitation, Su-han said quickly. The reason why he worked so hard to collect magic stones and magic crystals was to upgrade the ancestral dragon nest early so as to enhance the strength of the territory. As soon as the words fell, a golden light descended from the sky, covering the huge dragon's nest 20 meters high and 5 meters wide. 5 seconds later, the golden light dissipated, and a new ancestor dragon nest appeared in front of Su-han. This is a huge dragon nest with a height of 40 meters and a width of 10 meters. It is located in the center of the central square of the castle. There are many dragon patterns engraved on it, as if the dragons of the multiverse are all on it. It exudes a sacred aura and has a strong coercion, as if a sacred dragon stands here. Ancestral dragon nest. Characteristic. Myth, unique. Level. Level 2. 2 giant dragons can be bred every day. Upgrade conditions. 1000 magic stones, 10 magic crystals. Remarks. There is a low probability of breeding a high-level dragon, and upgrading the ancestor dragon nest can increase the chance of breeding a high-level dragon. Remarks. The ancestral dragon nest can breed all types of dragons in the multiverse. Remarks. Spending magic stones can shorten the time to breed a dragon. Sure enough, the number of dragons that can be bred every day in the ancestor dragon's nest that has been upgraded to level 2 has increased. The second level ancestral dragon nest can give birth to 2 giant dragons every day. Under my tenfold increase, that's 20 giant dragons. By tomorrow, my supreme hall will have 30 giant dragons, and their strength will increase dramatically. Even if I can't sweep the forest of fear, I think I can rank among the best. Many local forces are not my opponents. 30 dragons can completely form a small dragon army. Who will fight at this stage? In addition, the probability of a high-level dragon being bred in the ancestral dragon's nest has increased. It would be great if a high-level dragon could be bred tomorrow. In that case, the strength of the territory can be improved even more. Looking at the ancestral dragon's nest like a sacred dragon, Su-han smiled, and his strength will usher in a big explosion tomorrow. Su-han can be sure that he was the only lord who raised the mythical unit building to the 2nd level on the first day of his arrival on the Eternal Continent. If he hadn't had 10 giant dragons, he would have collected enough magic stones and crystals on the second day, or even the third day. Even if other lords have mythical arms, it is estimated that they will not be able to upgrade the arms buildings until the next afternoon, or even the third day. Su Han doesn't know if he was the first to upgrade the unit building, there may be many lords before him. But those lords are definitely below the top-level arms. After all, the upgrade conditions for ordinary arms, elite arms, and advanced arms are much lower than those for top-level arms and above. Now my ancestral dragon's nest has been promoted to the second level, and I have a huge lead. As long as I keep it up, it will grow bigger and bigger like a snowball. Coupled with the help of a tenfold increase, even a lord with mythical arms cannot catch up with me. And the higher the building level of the arms, the more arms can be bred, and the probability of breeding high-level arms will continue to increase. So I want to upgrade the building level of the arms as soon as possible. It is best to raise the ancestor dragon's nest to level 4 or even level 5 before the novice protection period ends. Su Han set another small goal for himself. Although there are tens of billions of lords in the Eternal Continent, the lords who have acquired powerful arms have already left billions of lords behind. Now that he has upgraded the ancestral dragon nest to the second level, it can be said that he has reached the front of tens of billions of lords. For Su Han, only when the territory develops rapidly and becomes stronger can he become a god, or even become supreme. He doesn't want to be a loser. In this cruel Eternal Continent, the only end for losers is to die. This is not a game, and the Lord will not have a chance to start over. Only by seizing every opportunity to become stronger quickly can you stand out from the tens of billions of lords, win the hegemony among all races, and rise to the top. Su Han glanced at the ancestral dragon's nest and found that no new dragons could be bred yet. Thinking of the last note on the Zulong nest, Su Han was a little eager to try. Spending magic stones can shorten the time for the dragon to conceive. Does it mean that as long as there are enough magic stones, the dragon born tomorrow can be brought to today? After upgrading the Zulong nest, he still has 85 magic stones and 1 magic crystal, which is more than 90% short of the conditions for upgrading the Zulong nest to level 3. After thinking about it, Su Han decided to give it a try. Hint: if you consume a magic stone, the time it takes to breed a giant dragon in the ancestral dragon lair will be shortened by 1 minute. Only 1 minute for a magic stone. Su Han was speechless and gave up this unrealistic idea. 1 magic stone only shortens the breeding time of the dragon by 1 minute, so if you want to advance the time to the present, you still have 13 hours and 8 minutes. Calculated according to 13 hours, then 780 magic stones are needed. Where did he go to get so many magic stones? Isn't it good that there are so many magic stones left to upgrade the ancestor dragon's nest to the 3rd level? To be honest, Su Han thinks this is not expensive. It can be said that it is super cheap to exchange nearly 800 magic stones for 20 giant dragons. Not to mention 20 dragons, even 1 dragon is super cheap. But he doesn't have enough magic stones. In the case of a shortage of magic stones, Su Han still wants to upgrade the ancestral dragon nest as soon as possible, which is more cost-effective. Time flies. After an hour, the white dragon team who had been hunting diligently outside came back with a large number of monster corpses and trophies. To Su Han's surprise, the monster corpses brought back by the white dragon squad this time were all centaurs, more than 120 in number. Is there a large centaur settlement nearby? The centaur lair last time and the centaur this time were the defensive outposts of that large centaur settlement. Su Han expressed the doubts in his heart. My lord, we hunted down the centaur this time about 4 kilometers southwest of the territory. There is a centaur lair there. No, 1 white dragon responded respectfully. Sure enough. The 2 centaur lairs are not far apart, and the large settlement of centaur is probably within a few kilometers of the territory. 2 centaur lairs were wiped out in a row. The large settlement of centaur may have noticed it, and maybe they are all preparing to attack his territory. If these centaurs came to die, Su Han would be very happy. Even if he didn't come, he would let the white dragon squad go and destroy them. Withdrawing his thoughts, Su Han looked at the more than 100 centaur corpses in the square, and then at the 10 white dragons. How much food do you need to eat at night? My lord, we need at least 20 centaurs. That is a white dragon and 2 centaurs. Su Han suddenly made a decision. In this way, I will leave you 60 centaurs, half of which will be eaten at night, and the other half will be eaten tomorrow morning. The centaur is not small, nearly 4 meters high and 4 to 5 meters long. 30 centaurs are enough to feed the dragon. Su-han didn't know what would happen at night, but instinctively felt that it was dangerous and it might not be easy to go hunting, so he had to prepare food for the dragons in advance. Thank you, my lord. The 10 white dragons suddenly said excitedly. Let Beilong divide the centaur corpses into 2 piles, one half as their food, and the other half as the corpses that Su-han is going to collect. There are 64 centaurs in this half, including 2 elite centaurs of the 4th rank. Su-han was familiar with collecting all the corpses one by one and decomposing them into meat and various materials. In the end, Su-han obtained a total of 1,400 units of meat and hundreds of units of various materials. If it wasn't for the fact that only the horse part of the centaur's corpse would collect meat, the amount of food would definitely be more. In addition, he also harvested a magic crystal and 95 magic stones. Counting the inventory, Su-han now has a total of 2 magic crystals and 179 magic stones, and the conditions for upgrading the ancestor dragon nest to level 3 have almost reached 20%. Except for saving a little for himself, Su-han put all the food on the shelves in the shop on the trading plane. The exchange price is the same as before, but it is specially noted that timber and iron ore will not be purchased for the time being. This time, he mainly bought stones and refined iron. As for magic stones and magic crystals, it depends on luck. 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 1 unit of refined iron. It took less than 5 minutes for the food to be put on the shelves, and the 1,400 units of food were snatched up by those lords. Su-han, the giant dragon, put food on the shelf again. Although there were only more than 1,000 units, it still caused quite a stir. In particular, Su-han is actually collecting refined iron, which reminds many lords of something. Su-han didn't care about these, he was counting the harvest. This time, a total of 5,000 units of stone and 500 units of refined iron were obtained. Counting the resources in the warehouse, Su-han currently has 44,000 units of wood, 20,000 units of stone, 4,000 units of iron ore and 500 units of refined iron. The conditions for upgrading the Supreme Palace to a first-level town are 40,000 units of wood, 20,000 units of stone, 4,000 units of iron ore, and 500 units of refined iron. Su-han was relieved to see that the resources in the warehouse just met the conditions for upgrading the territory. If it wasn't enough, he would consider reducing the dragon's food, or wait until tomorrow to upgrade the territory. Then Su-han came to the core crystal, looked at the light red crystal, and a prompt appeared. The territory upgrade conditions have been met, do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade. As Su-han finished speaking, a reddish light bloomed from the core crystal, instantly covering the entire territory. The scope of the territory expanded rapidly, and the castle was transformed into a town. Even the center of the castle where Su-han was located was changed into the city lord's mansion. The scope of this town is several times larger than the previous large castle, and there are even more buildings. Consume 40,000 units of wood, 20,000 units of stone, 4,000 units of iron ore, 500 units of refined iron, the upgrade is successful. Your Supreme Palace has been upgraded to a first-tier town. The scope of your territory has expanded to a radius of 10 kilometers. Your core crystal defense value has been increased to 10,000. The reputation and influence of your territory, the Supreme Hall, in the Forest of Fear has greatly increased. From now on, there will be local forces in the Fear Forest to pay attention to you. When the reddish light dissipated, the core crystal in front of Su-han suddenly changed from light red to red, and he also received a message prompt. Finally a Tier 1 town. I worked hard for a day, and the result is not bad. Other lords, even those with mythical arms, may have just upgraded their territory from a large manor to a small castle at this moment. I have great advantages. The higher the level of the territory, the higher the defense value of the core crystal, and the development speed will also increase a lot. Although it will be noticed by the local forces of the Fear Forest, as long as it is not the 9th level lord and above, there is no need to worry. What's more, my territory has expanded to a radius of 10 kilometers, and activities within this range are safe. With a smile on Su-han's face, he got off to a good start on his first day as a lord. Whether it is the building level of the arms, the level of the territory, or the number of arms, he has left those lords who also have mythical arms by a large margin. As long as this continues, his advantage will become bigger and bigger. Tomorrow, there will be 20 more dragons in his territory, and by then he will be able to form a small dragon army, and the speed of the development of the territory will be greatly improved. Su-han casually opened the territory information to check. Supreme Palace. Territory level. First class town. Territory range. 10 kilometers in radius. Ordinary buildings. City Lord's Mansion, warehouses, houses, lumberyards, quarries, ironworks, mills. Soldier Building. Ancestral Dragon Nest mythical unique. Territory characteristic. Invincible remaining 9 days, 12 hours and 07 minutes. Next level. Secondary town. Upgrade conditions. 100,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of stone, 10,000 units of iron ore, 1,000 units of refined iron. Affiliation. None. Are there 5 more ordinary buildings? The lumberyard should be used to collect wood, the quarry should be used to collect stone materials, the ironworks should be used to collect iron ore and refine refined iron, and the mill should be used to make ordinary food. It is estimated that the dwellings are for those farmers and workers to live in. It's a pity that I don't have ordinary units for the time being, otherwise these ordinary buildings will come in handy. After reading the territory information, Su-han made a guess about the 5 buildings. The giant dragon is his main army, so it certainly cannot be used to make these groceries, and the giant dragon can't do it either. Only when some refugees are recruited to work in the future, will they be able to produce some of the materials needed to upgrade the territory by themselves. The main reason is that the Supreme Palace was upgraded too quickly. It went from a small manor to a large manor, a small castle, and a large castle in one day, and it was directly upgraded to a first-level town. In other words, the military strength of the Supreme Palace is super strong, but the economy is super hip, and it depends entirely on exchanges with the outside world. Fortunately, there is a trading plane. Otherwise, no matter how strong Su-han is in military strength, he would not be able to quickly upgrade his territory with a lot of meat. Walking out of the city lord's mansion and going outside, Su-han suddenly felt a sense of accomplishment in his heart. His territory has grown a lot. There are also some magnificent prototypes. The city lord's mansion now has 5 floors and is the second tallest building in the entire territory. The tallest building is the ancestral dragon's nest in the central square. The city lord's mansion is connected to the central square by steps, and the steps at this time have become 36 steps, making the city lord's mansion even higher. The central square has also expanded several times, and there are a row of buildings around the square. On the left are warehouses, residential buildings, and mills, on the right are ironworks, quarries, and lumberyards. The territory has a radius of 10 kilometers. If there are ordinary troops, they can collect resources to their heart's content without being threatened by monsters. The first-level town covers an area of about 7 kilometers. Outside the town is a moat, which has also been expanded. The river is 5 or 6 meters wide and more than 3 meters deep. To Su-han's regret, there is no wall between the moat and the town. If it didn't appear when the territory was upgraded, it means that it needs to be built by itself, and I don't know if blueprints are needed. Su-han reckons he can build it himself, but if he has blueprints, he should be able to get defense bonuses and even some defensive skills. Speaking of blueprints, Su-han suddenly remembered that he seemed to have obtained a blueprint, but he had forgotten it in the warehouse. This blueprint was obtained during the previous sweep, and the giant dragon wiped out all the monsters within 3 kilometers of its territory. Su-han hurriedly took it to examine it. It was a drawing 50 centimeters long and wide, pale gold in color, with mysterious runes on it. If an unknown drawing is found, do you want to identify it immediately? Appraisal. Su-han said without hesitation. According to the rules of the Eternal Continent, the blueprints dropped by monsters and monsters are the same, and they are all unknown. Only after identification can we know what this blueprint is and what level it is. Generally, there are 4 major categories: architectural blueprints, equipment blueprints, arms blueprints, and magic blueprints. All blueprints are divided into low level, intermediate, high level, top level, epic, legendary, and god level. The level and type of blueprints identified basically depend on the Lord's luck. Of course, the blueprints from powerful monsters and monsters are generally of higher level. Su-han is quite looking forward to the type and level of this blueprint. This is the first time he has released a blueprint. It is very lucky to be able to explode the blueprint on the first day. I hope it is a top-level architectural drawing, preferably a defensive type, such as a city wall drawing. Looking at the drawings shrouded in golden light, Su-han said silently in his heart. In order to enhance the viability of the Lord has many basic skills at the beginning, such as collection, identification, planting, mining, logging, quarrying and so on. Although these basic skills exist, there are not many that can be used. The most commonly used by the Lord is collection and identification. As for other basic skills, most lords will not use them, so these basic skills are hidden and need to be explored by the Lord to learn. Soon, the golden light dissipated, and the blueprint in Su-han's hand revealed its true colors. Epic level architectural blueprint, Mage Tower. Type: Defense. Effect 1. A sanctuary level mage is automatically born to sit in the Mage Tower. Effect 2. Mage Tower can monitor all movements within a radius of 100 miles. Effect 3. The Mage Tower is equipped with 3 sanctuary-level magic cannons, which can be launched by consuming magic power, covering the entire territory. Effect 4. Sanctuary magic shield consume half of the magic power of the Mage Tower to condense the magic shield to protect the territory. Effect 5. Sanctuary magic plane summoning consume half of the magic power of the Mage Tower to summon a strong sanctuary from another plane to fight. Construction conditions: 100,000 units of wood, 60,000 units of stone materials, 30,000 units of iron ore, 10,000 units of fine iron, 5,000 units of mithril, 500 magic stones, and 5 magic crystals. After reading the information on this blueprint, Su-han was a little dumbfounded. Although it is not the blueprint of the city wall architecture he wanted, the Mage Tower is also very good. The Mage Tower is still an epic level architectural drawing, and the 5 effects are all very powerful. It can only be said that it is an epic level architectural drawing. After it is completed, monitoring 100 miles around is simply a magical skill in the early stage, so you don't have to worry about being attacked or touched into the territory. There is also a sanctuary level mage sitting in charge. The mages are not blown out. The combat power of a sanctuary level mage is comparable to many legendary professions. 3 sanctuary level magic cannons, a large sanctuary defense magic, and summoning a strong sanctuary from another plane to fight. No matter which one it is a great treasure for the early lords. If it can be built, the lord's territory is absolutely safe, and it will easily pass the novice protection period and allow the territory to develop rapidly. It's a pity that the construction conditions of this Mage Tower are too high. Common resources such as wood, stone, iron ore, and refined iron require more than level 1 towns to upgrade to level 2 towns. And that mithril, which Su-han had never heard of, actually cost 5,000 units. Another Mage Tower needs 500 magic stones and 5 magic crystals, which are half of the conditions for the Ancestor Dragon Nest to be upgraded from the 2nd level to the 3rd level. Oh, Su-han sighed and put away the Mage Tower. Although the epic level architectural blueprint Mage Tower is good, it is not very useful for Su-han, and the cost performance is not high for him. Although the Mage Tower is the top combat power in the early stage after it is completed, it is useless in the later stage. After the novice protection period is over, his dragon army is basically formed, not to mention the sanctuary. He can kill even a legend. Of course, if the resources needed for the Mage Tower were reduced by half, he would still be happy to build one. But now he must first upgrade the Ancestral Dragon Nest and the territory as soon as possible, and the construction of the Mage Tower can only be put at the end. Su-han intends to keep it and build it when the resources are sufficient, or exchange it with other lords later. Glancing at the sky, Su-han realized that it was almost night, so Su-han started to watch the World Channel. It's almost nighttime, and I'm still worrying about what to eat for dinner. You are not alone. My territory has been upgraded to a large manor. My territory is almost a small castle, and it will definitely be upgraded to a small castle tomorrow. My unit is Shadow Assassin, a top-level unit that seems to have a special bonus at night. Speaking of which, night doesn't affect hunting, does it? Normally, it doesn't affect, as long as your arms can be seen. Many wild monsters and monsters like to be active at night and come out to look for food. If your troops are not strong enough, it is recommended to stay in the territory. Suddenly, a world announcement appeared, which immediately shocked all the lords. World announcement, stick to the top in red. 9 sunsets, March rises, and night falls. The fog of war appears. The dangers outside the territory have been greatly increased, and the corresponding opportunities have also been greatly increased. Risks and opportunities coexist. The terrain changes in the fog of war. Everything is possible. Your territory may be anywhere in the Eternal Continent, or it may not be in the Eternal Continent. It may be in the 99 Abyss, it may be in the 72 Hell, or it may be in the 64 floors of Purgatory, 18 floors of the underground world, and even other dimensions, planes, and worlds. I rely on it. Onlookers in the front row. I was shocked when I saw 9 big suns in the sky before, but I didn't expect that there would be 3 moons at night. The night is really dangerous. Don't go out if you don't have the courage. Fog of war. There is something. This fog of war is actually connected to any place in the multiverse. Will I be able to return to Blue Star if I walk out of the territory? Stop dreaming upstairs. Blue Star can't be in this multiverse. It turns out that this world is not only the Eternal Continent, but also the Abyss, Hell, Purgatory, Underworld, and even the Surface World, as well as the Underground World. It turns out that the competition between day and night is different. Brother Meng Chong. It's time to rise up against the sky. There is a great opportunity in the fog of war. Maybe you can get something good and soar into the sky. That's right, although the risks in the fog of war are great, the opportunities are equally great. We ordinary lords mainly seize the opportunity and are likely to turn around directly. After watching the speeches of the lords on the World Channel, Su-han couldn't help but secretly nodded. Although some lords were unlucky and did not get random powerful units, they were still very smart, and they could still rise if they seized the opportunity. And the fog of war is to give ordinary lords a chance to stand up and rise. According to the world announcement, the outside of the territory will be filled with fog of war at night, and the environment has completely changed, and it is no longer the environment that the lords were familiar with before. Risks and opportunities coexist. It is certain that it is very dangerous in the fog of war. Maybe the unit will be swallowed by a high-level dragon as soon as it enters. But it is also possible to encounter a dragon nest in the fog of war, and there happens to be one or several dragon eggs in it. If you get back to the territory and hatch, it will directly fly into the sky. It seems that this world is not as simple as I imagined. The Eternal Continent is the main material world, and gods cannot exist, so most of them exist in the God realm. But not all gods are in the God realm. The gods in the God realm are estimated to be gods of the camps of lawful good, lawful neutral, neutral good, absolute neutral chaotic good, etc. The gods of the evil camp and some chaotic camps seem to live in worlds such as the Abyss, Hell, and Purgatory. Of course, it is not ruled out that the gods of some powerful races live in the race plane. Races such as dragons, elves, titans, beemen, etc. probably have independent worlds. Besides that, there are 4 elemental planes of earth, water, wind and fire, as well as the underground world. I didn't expect the underground world to have 18 floors. Could it be that each floor is as big as the surface world? Can the underground world keep the gods forever? Su-han thought a lot for a while, and found that the water in the eternal world was deeper than he imagined, and the gods here must be as numerous as stars. Take the Abyss as an example. According to legend, the Abyss is the residence of demons. Demons are chaotic and evil creatures with terrible power. Demons are keen on killing, indulging in the pleasure of destruction and destruction. In the endless desire for destruction, these brutal creatures destroy endless dimensions, planes, and worlds. There are all kinds of demons in the Abyss, such as the coward, the quasi, the succubus, the demon spider, the flow, the berserker, the glamour, the soul demon, the 6-armed snake, the balrog, balur, etc. These demons are divided according to the ranks of arms, ranging from the lowest ordinary arms to the highest mythical arms. And the Abyss in this world has 99 floors, which means that there are likely to be 99 demon gods in the Abyss, or even more. Generally speaking, there is only one lord of an abyss, and an abyss lord needs at least a god to act, and even ordinary gods cannot become an abyss lord. Above the abyss lord, there is also the abyss king, who commands multiple layers of abyss. Above the abyss king, there is the abyss lord. Similar to the abyss or hell and purgatory, but devils live in hell, and undead live in purgatory. The abyss, hell and purgatory have one thing in common: they are all evil camps. Su-han looked up at the sky, and found that there were 3 huge red moons hanging high in the sky, and the red light illuminated the entire eternal world. In the dark night sky, apart from the 3 red moons, there are stars that almost fill the entire sky. It is the kingdom of gods and the star realm. Then Su-han came to the balcony on the 5th floor of the city lord's mansion, looked out of the territory, and found that everywhere was shrouded in gray mist. Apparently, this is the fog of war mentioned in the world announcement. Su-han looked down and saw 10 white dragons standing on the square, which made Su-han a little embarrassed. There are no dragon lairs and dragon nests for giant dragons to live in the territory, and ordinary dwellings can also accommodate them. Just wait and see. Su-han doesn't intend to explore the fog of war immediately. He has a great advantage now, and he is still far ahead if he is steady and steady. If he lets the White Dragon squad go in recklessly, if he encounters a strong man of sanctuary, legend, hero level, etc., the White Dragon squad will be completely wiped out. Although he won't be eliminated, he will also lose a lot, and he can only make up for it tomorrow. So Su-han decided to stabilize first. Even if he wanted to explore the fog of war, he was not in a hurry. Those ordinary lords are the best pioneers. Let them be cannon fodder to explore the fog of war before considering whether to act. It's not just Su-han who thinks this way. The lords of many top arms, ace arms, and even mythical arms almost think so. They have a great advantage now, so there is no need to rush ahead and take risks. If the arms die, their advantage will be lost, and it will be greatly reduced. While the risks are great in the fog of war, the opportunities are even greater. Ordinary lords want to stand up. This is the best opportunity. Otherwise, by the end of the novice protection period, it is estimated that billions of ordinary lords will be eliminated and die. No one wants to die. With no other way out, ordinary lords must explore in the fog of war. They didn't have much advantage in the first place. Even if the troops on the first day died, they didn't have much loss. If they get a big chance, they can soar into the sky. Afterwards, Su-han went to cooked a piece of elite meat, and Su-han took a bite. Eat elite meat, magic power +1. By the time Su-han finished his dinner, more than half an hour had passed since night fell. He reckoned that the result was almost reached by this time, so he turned on the world channel to observe. Hiss, the fog of war is too scary. The little master's flying dragon baby seemed to have entered purgatory after entering, and was killed by the frost corpse, and his heart ached to death. It's so scary. As soon as my unit stepped into the fog of war, it was overwhelmed by the overwhelming army of undead. Fortunately, I only sent 1 spearman to explore the way. Mom, I want to go home. I'm so pissed off. I originally found a top-level unit building, and I was about to get it, but a 9-headed dragon flew in and killed all my units with 1 breath. The big speechless incident. My little skeleton went to heaven from the fog of war, even next to the angel reincarnation pool. That is a mythical unit building. Then my little skull was purified. After watching it for so long, it's all about the dangers and great opportunities in the fog of war. Hasn't a single lord succeeded. Thank you. I am in the Dark Valley, and I just obtained the ace unit, Pale Hunter, from the fog of war. Since then, I have broken away from the status of an ordinary lord. Nest grass, nest grass, nest grass. I'm envious of my real name. The Plasmodium separation of jealousy. Since the Lord has said it, I won't hide it anymore. Although I didn't get the ace unit, I also got a top unit to destroy the spider. Envy those 2 bosses. I was originally an elite lord, but now I should be considered a senior lord. So happy. I couldn't help but share with my brothers. I tried to send troops into the fog of war just now, but I came to a dragon's lair, and there was a giant dragon egg inside. Although it is not a unit building, I am satisfied with a giant dragon. Ha ha ha, I succeeded. Steal an ace unit, Fire Ghost, from the fire elemental plane. 666. The old man upstairs actually dared to enter the fog of war. He is really not afraid of death. I admire you. Brother should get the ace unit. Originally, I was a little afraid of the danger of the fog of war. Seeing so many successful ones, then I will go for it too. At most, I will lose a day of troops. Remind all lords who want to break through the fog of war. The place where the fog of war is located is different every time you enter, so don't enter in multiple times. Lessons of Blood and Tears. Su-han swiped a section of the World Channel and found that they were all discussing the fog of war, or heavy losses, or great harvests, changing fate against the sky. He found that almost all ordinary lords were fanatical, especially after seeing some ordinary lords obtain top-level arms, ace arms, and even mythical arms from the fog of war. All ordinary lords acted like crazy, breaking into the fog of war crazily, just to gain a chance to rise. In their view, as long as they don't enter in person, even if it is dangerous inside, they will at most lose the troops of the first day, and the risk is not too great. Once they get the top arms, ace arms, even high-level arms, they will be able to turn around, which is dozens or hundreds of times better than the original ordinary arms. Survivor deviation is so manic. Su-han exclaims. He is aware that this is typical survivor bias. There are very few lords who can obtain high-level arms, even fewer top-level arms and ace arms, and there is not one who can successfully obtain mythical arms buildings in the fog of war. And what about the failed ordinary lords? At least hundreds of millions, or even billions of lords. Even so, they still couldn't resist the enthusiasm of those ordinary lords, wanting to seize this opportunity to rise. Going or not, facing this choice, Su-han hesitated. Even after finding out about the fog of war through many ordinary lords, Su-han was still quite entangled. In the end, Su-han made a decision. Don't go. In Su-han's view, the fog of war is an opportunity for ordinary lords to stand up and rise. Even if they fail, they will not lose much. And once a mythological lord like him goes out in person, if he loses, his early advantage will be greatly reduced. Even if they succeed, there is only a very small probability of obtaining mythical arms, and only mythical arms can help them expand their advantages. If you get other arms, it will not help the myth lord very much. The risk outweighs the benefit. Especially for Su-han, his army is 10 white dragons. Even if there will be 20 white dragons tomorrow, he will be very heartbroken if he loses 10. It will reduce his development speed tomorrow by 1/3, or even more. If it is calculated in the future, the loss of opportunity cost will be particularly large. Even if you want to explore the fog of war, don't rush it for a while. It won't be too late to explore after there are more dragons in the territory and their strength is stronger. After making a decision, Su-han didn't hesitate, and ordered the White Dragon team in the central square. Find a place to rest, and remember not to go out of the territory. Obey, my lord. The 10 white dragons responded respectfully and strictly followed Su-han's instructions. Su-han nodded in satisfaction. The 10 white dragons are all at the 5th level now, and they are still 65% away from the 6th level. They can definitely be promoted to the 6th level tomorrow. And he himself is currently a little over the 3rd level, and he can be promoted to the 4th level tomorrow, and even sprint to the 5th level. After all, the number of giant dragons that can be bred in the ancestral dragon's nest tomorrow will be even greater, with a tenfold increase of 20 dragons. At that time, 10 5th-tier giant dragons and 24th-tier giant dragons will form a small dragon army, which will definitely greatly increase the upgrade speed. Advent the next day. 3 red moons fall, and 9 great suns rise. The fog of war lingering outside the territory dissipated, and the forest of fear reappeared, and the familiar roars and roars of beasts could be heard endlessly. After breakfast, Su-han looked at the balcony on the 5th floor for a while, confirmed that the outside of the territory had returned to normal, and then came to the central square. The 40-meter-high ancestral dragon nest stands proudly, like a sacred dragon soaring into the sky, giving people a great sense of oppression. The energy of the ancestral dragon's nest reaches the standard. Is it possible to breed a dragon? Seeing the prompt in front of him, Su-han immediately chose to conceive. In an instant, the sacred light filled the ancestor dragon's nest, and 2 huge dragon eggs appeared. These 2 dragon eggs seemed to be exactly the same as those conceived yesterday, and they also seemed to be the dragon eggs of the white dragon. At the same time, 3 prompts sounded in Su-han's mind. Tenfold increase starts. You get 10 dragon eggs. You get a dragon egg. What? Surprised expression appeared on Su-han's face. What the hell is a dragon egg? Did the boost fail? Su-han looked at the 11 dragon eggs in the ancestral dragon's nest, and found that 10 of them were exactly the same, while the other dragon egg was 2 circles larger than the others. Mistgrass, it's okay. Su-han immediately understood what was going on. There are 2 modes for the tenfold increase in emotion. It can increase the quantity by 10 times, or it can increase the quality of a single dragon egg by 10 times. In other words, 10 white dragons and an unknown high-level dragon were bred in the ancestral dragon's nest this time. This high-level giant dragon should be a giant dragon after the evolution of the white dragon. Catch, catch. The sound of dragon eggs breaking came from the ancestral dragon's nest, and then Su-han saw young dragons coming out of the eggs. The 10 young dragons quickly ate their own eggshells and became much larger, flying to stand in front of Su-han. I have seen the Lord. The 10 white dragons put their front paws on the ground, lowered their heads and said respectfully, "Get up." Su-han said something casually, but his gaze was fixed on the huge dragon egg in the ancestral dragon's nest. Soon, the dragon egg also began to shatter, and a young dragon came out, quickly devoured the egg shell, and quickly grew in size. To Su-han's surprise, this particular dragon appeared to be a white dragon as well, but unlike normal white dragons, it was much larger. An ordinary white dragon is about 1 meter long after birth, grows to 3 meters after eating eggshells, and is about 1 meter tall. But this white dragon was 3 meters long and 1 meter high when it was born. After eating the eggshells, it quickly grew to 7 or 8 meters long and 3 or 4 meters high. Anyone can see that this white dragon is unusual. At the same time, Su-han found that this white dragon is different from other white dragons in some places. It doesn't seem to have the one below. Is this a female dragon? This white dragon flapped its wings of more than 10 meters and flew out. Her dragon wings were like 2 dark clouds covering the sky, and the wings shone with light like a sea of stars, like magical stars, exuding a shuddering terror energy. Her gaze was extremely majestic, and the rest of the white dragons she passed lowered their heads, including the 10 white dragons that were conceived yesterday, as if they were in awe. I have seen the Lord. The white dragon landed in front of Su-han and saluted gracefully. Su-han nodded with a smile, and then began to check the information panels of the 11 dragons. The information panel of the 10 newborn white dragons is exactly the same as the white dragon conceived yesterday. There is no difference. They all start at the 4th level, and when they reach the extreme old dragon stage, they are demigods. But this female white dragon was different, which surprised Su-han very much. White Dragon Queen. Growth status: Juvenile Dragon. Strength rank: Tier 6. Loyalty: 100. Highest potential: Ancient Dragon, weaker divine power true god. Remarks: Dragons are divided into juvenile dragons, adult dragons, mature dragons, old dragons, extremely old dragons, ancient dragons, and ancient dragons. It turned out to be the White Dragon Queen. After reading her information panel, Su-han showed joy on his face. Beilong is one of the 5 color dragons and the weakest dragon in the dragon clan, known as the Shame of the Dragon. In fact, there is another kind of giant dragon that is weaker than the white dragon, and that is the bone dragon. The bone dragon is revived from a complete dragon corpse. In fact, it is not a dragon family, but an undead family. If the bone dragon evolves, it will become a ghost dragon, or an undead clan, and its strength is still weak, just like ordinary white dragons. If the white dragon is an ordinary dragon, then the white dragon queen is a high-level dragon. Even in the entire white dragon group, it is difficult to give birth to a dragon king. Once it appears, it must be a high-level giant dragon, commanding the entire white dragon group. Among the 5 color dragons, metal dragons and gemstone dragons, white dragons, black dragons, red copper dragons, bronze dragons, topaz dragons and sapphire dragons are at the same level, and white dragons are the weakest of these 6 dragons. These 6 kinds of giant dragons are born as Tier 4, and when they grow to the state of extremely old dragons, they become demigods. The second level is green dragon, blue dragon, brass dragon, silver dragon, emerald dragon, and crystal dragon. Born as the 5th level, and reaching the state of an extremely old dragon as a demigod. The third level is red dragon, golden dragon, amethyst dragon, and platinum dragon. This level has stepped into the threshold of high-level giant dragons. It is the 6th level at birth, and the growth limit is ancient dragons. They can successfully become true gods, new gods. The White Dragon Queen is also at this level. Only a very small number of low-level giant dragons can evolve into high-level giant dragons. Generally, after evolution, they are stronger than ordinary high-level giant dragons. But the White Dragon Queen has not reached a new level. The 4th level of dragons are Fairy Dragon, Shadow Dragon, Despair Dragon, Nine-Headed Dragon, etc., and they are 7th level at birth. They are also in the state of ancient dragons when they grow to the limit, but at the highest they can become true gods with powerful divine power. The 5th tier of dragons is ... Although all the white dragons have been bred so far, Suhan was very surprised by a high-ranking dragon, the White Dragon Queen. Compared with ordinary white dragons, the White Dragon Queen was born 2 ranks higher, especially the growth limit. Ordinary white dragons can grow up to extremely old dragons at most. At that time, white dragons were demigods, but they were not strong among demigods. If they wanted to continue breaking through, they had to use special items. You must know that demigods are also divided into levels. After becoming a demigod, it is still very difficult to become a true god, it's just that the first step has been taken. Therefore, the Eternal Continent divides the demigods into 4 tiers according to the steps of demigods becoming true gods. Each is more difficult than the other, but also more powerful. The demigods are divided into bronze demigods, silver demigods, gold demigods and platinum demigods. After reaching platinum demigod, as long as you can condense the priesthood, you can be promoted to a new god, that is, a true god with weak divine power. The demigod is the true god, and the true god is divided into weak divine power, new god weak divine power, medium divine power and strong divine power according to divine power. The White Dragon Queen can successfully grow to the ancient stage by relying on killing monsters, and be promoted to a weaker divine power true god. How can this not surprise Suhan? When the White Dragon Queen grows up, there will be a real god with weaker power in the territory in an instant. Although today's gestation was somewhat beyond Suhan's expectations, it was not the 30 dragons formed into a small dragon army as envisioned yesterday. But Suhan is also very happy to have a White Dragon Queen. It also happens that 20 white dragons can be handed over to the White Dragon Queen to command, and Suhan only needs to be in charge of the White Dragon Queen. Looking at the White Dragon Queen in front of him, Suhan still felt slightly regretful. He remembered that the 2nd level ancestral dragon nest had a relatively low probability of giving birth to a high-level dragon. Obviously, it didn't give birth this time, and he was out of luck. The White Dragon Queen, a high-ranking giant dragon, was multiplied tenfold. Otherwise, he would get 10 high-level giant dragons, and 1 high-level giant dragon of the 3rd level, or even the 4th level. Suhan randomly named the 10 newborn white dragons number 11 to number 20. When it was the turn of the White Dragon Queen, Suhan got serious. From now on, you will be called Walnut. Thank you Lord for giving me the name. Joy flashed in the eyes of White Dragon Queen Hudao, and she said excitedly. Obviously happy that Suhan didn't give her a number. Hudao, from now on you will lead all the white dragons to guard the territory and go hunting. Suhan continued. Obey, my lord, Walnut said respectfully. Take your subordinates to hunt now and eliminate all threats around the territory. Yes, Hudao looked at the 20 white dragons with majestic eyes and natural dominance. Wherever her gaze passed, all the white dragons lowered their heads to show their submission. Very good, Hudao nodded in satisfaction, and then left the territory with 20 dragons to go hunting. Before making Suhan wait too long, he received a series of kill prompts, and a lot of magic power poured into his body. A smile appeared on Suhan's face, and then he turned on the World Channel and watched it. He found that the World Channel was almost normal, and the top red announcement last night had disappeared, corresponding to the disappearance of the fog of war. In the World Channel, some lords were discussing the fog of war, such as going to that place, plane, world, what dangers they encountered, what opportunities they got, and so on. Others are discussing how to explore the fog of war tonight and so on. However, the topics discussed by most of the lords were still the development of the territory during the day, asking for various resources and asking various questions. No one in the World Channel was chatting and spanking, mainly because the Lord's speeches were only 3 times a day, and more magic stones were needed. After closing the World Channel, Suhan opened the trading plane again. He found that the supply of food was still in short supply, and it was often purchased by other lords not long after it appeared. The most sold items on the trading plane are wood, stone, iron ore, and various monster materials. The second is refined iron, but the quantity is not large, and there are very few people who buy it. Except for Suhan, no lord knows the use of refined iron. In addition, there are a few lords who are selling blueprints, all of which have been authenticated, and the highest ones are only advanced blueprints. Almost none of these blueprints were sold. There were basically all kinds of blueprints, and there were even architectural blueprints for elite units. Except for the high price of these blueprints, as long as magic stones and magic crystals are required, ordinary resources will not be charged. Another reason is that the lords are very poor. Whoever regards magic stones and magic crystals as treasures, and carefully accumulates them to upgrade the units, buildings. They don't even have the magic stones and magic crystal resources to upgrade the units, buildings, so how can they have the money to buy high-priced blueprints? Suhan glanced at the drawings and found 2 drawings that moved him a little. One is a low-level architectural drawing, fence, and the other is a high-level architectural drawing, arrow tower. The accompanying effects are very good. There are actually evolutionary levels among many blueprints, such as low-level architectural blueprints, fences, followed by intermediate architectural blueprints, earth walls, high-level architectural blueprints, stone walls, top architectural blueprints, city walls, and epic architectural blueprints. Architectural blueprints that have been inherited in one continuous line can be promoted after using special items. For example, a territory initially used low-level architectural drawings, fences, and the fences can continue to be upgraded to improve defense. After the fence reaches the full level, it can be upgraded to earth wall by consuming special items. However, it is not cost-effective to directly use high-level architectural blueprints to build defensive buildings that are constantly promoted. The resource consumption may be several times more, and special items are also required. The advantage is that no follow-up blueprints are required. And if you directly use advanced architectural blueprints, then there are many upgrade steps left in the early stage, and you can directly get a powerful defensive city wall. The disadvantage is that the price is high. Defensive buildings such as fences and earth walls can also be built by themselves, but if they are built by themselves, they will only have defense values. Fences, earth walls, etc. built from blueprints will have some defensive effects. Generally, low-level blueprints come with 1 effect, mid-level blueprints come with 2 effects, high-level blueprints come with 3 effects, top-level blueprints come with 4 effects, epic-level blueprints come with 5 effects, and legendary-level blueprints come with 6 effects. Suhan looked at the drawings of fence and arrow tower. One asked for 20 magic stones, the other asked for 100 magic stones, or 1 magic crystal. Suhan just gave up. Although he now has 179 magic stones and 2 magic crystals, they are all reserved for upgrading the ancestor dragon nest. Fence and arrow tower are good, but they can't compare with the importance of the ancestral dragon nest. Turning off the trading plane, Suhan was filled with emotion. It is not his pattern to kill monsters and explode blueprints. It seems that many lords have killed monsters and exploded blueprints. Sure enough, there are tens of billions of lords. Even if the probability of dropping blueprints is extremely low, there will still be a lot of blueprints. The blueprints sold on the trading plane are the highest level, and there are likely to be higher level blueprints, but those lords didn't sell them. For this point, Suhan's cognition is still very clear. The Eternal Continent was not opened by his family, and he was not a child of luck. Tens of billions of lords came to the Eternal Continent to participate in the struggle for hegemony among all races, and the starting point was relatively fair. There are hundreds of millions of troops in the Eternal Continent, and all the lords are randomly selected. What you can get depends on your luck. Suhan can get mythical arms, and others can also get mythical arms, and many people can get them. Suhan can explode blueprints by killing monsters, and so can other lords. There is no difference, all lords are treated the same. And it doesn't mean that if you draw a powerful unit at the beginning, you can be invincible directly. The stronger the troop, the fewer the number of bread every day, and the more resources needed to upgrade the troop building. And the weaker the unit, the more units will be bred every day, and the less resources for unit building upgrades. The unit buildings of the mythical units have only been upgraded to the second level, and ordinary lords may have been upgraded to the third level, or even the fourth level. What's more, there is such a thing as the fog of war at night. After closing the trading plane, Su-han opened the friend list. It is found that the number of people requesting to add him as a friend has reached more than 200 million, and it is increasing every moment. Su-han took a cursory glance, a little disappointed. There was no friend he wanted to agree with. At present, there are only a few types of lords who add him as friends. Those who want to hug his thighs, warm his bed, come to inquire about news, ask for advice on the development of the territory, and want to form an alliance with him. Among them are some lords with ace arms and myth arms. But it's the same for Su-han. Now that he has a strong army, will he be at the top in the future? What's more, everyone is separated by hundreds of millions of miles, and they all know whether they are in the same world, so let's form an alliance. There is a high probability that these people will be his opponents in the future, and he may not have the habit of forming alliances with opponents. In addition, there is something about sending him welfare photos, all kinds of things. There is also about giving him tens of billions of wealth, as long as Su-han gives him resources to help him develop. For these whimsical prostitutes, Su-han directly blocked them. They have all come to the Eternal Continent, and even posting a fart welfare photo, the previous wealth is of no use at all. What he needs are those who are helpful to the development of his territory, such as providing him with exclusive supplies of various resources, such as building various weapons and equipment for him, or providing him with some important information and so on. After closing the friend list casually, Su-han opened the dimensional store again, only to find that there was still nothing in it. It seems that we can only wait for tomorrow. Su-han is looking forward to it. What items will appear in the dimensional store tomorrow? Maybe you can buy some good things in the dimensional store. As time passed, Su-han received more and more kill prompts, and the magic power in his body grew rapidly. White Dragon Queen Hu Dao led 20 white dragons to kill in the Fear Forest outside the territory. Due to the addition of 11 white dragons today, especially the high-level dragon Hu Dao, the 6th order dragon, the hunting speed has increased several times compared to yesterday. Hu Dao deserves to be the queen of the white dragon, and she is extremely capable of ruling, whether it is commanding troops to fight or managing the white dragon. She divided the white dragons into 2 teams, one team of 10 white dragons, and led the 2 teams of white dragons to kill monsters frantically at first. When a certain number of monsters were hunted, a team of white dragons would return to the territory with the spoils, and she would lead another team of white dragons to continue hunting. After the first team of white dragons returned, Hu Dao asked the second team of white dragons to go back with the spoils, and she continued hunting with the first team of white dragons. In this way, the efficiency of hunting has been greatly improved, and it has also taken into account the balance of allowing both teams of white dragons to upgrade. After more than 2 hours, a golden light lit up on Su-han's body, and he was upgraded from Tier 3 to Tier 4. Su-han is definitely the first lord to rise to the 4th rank. Although tens of billions of lords descended on the Eternal Continent, none of them developed as fast as Su-han. It is only the 2nd day now. Most of the lords are still at level 0, and the lords with high-level arms have risen to the 1st level. The lord with the top arms is sprinting to the 2nd level. The lords with ace arms will advance to the 2nd tier, the lords with mythical arms will start to sprint to the 3rd tier. But Su-han has been upgraded to Tier 4. If this news gets out, it will definitely shock all the lords. You must know that although the lord can rely on the troops to kill monsters to obtain magic power and continuously upgrade, there is a huge gap between the ranks. The magic power needed to upgrade from level 1 to level 2 is twice that of level 0 to level 1, and the magic power required to upgrade from level 2 to level 3 is 4 times that of level 1 to level 2. The magic power needed to upgrade from the 3rd level to the 4th level is 6 times that of the 2nd level to the 3rd level. It can be said that the magic power needed for each level is far from the sum of the magic power of all previous levels, and the difficulty has been greatly improved. Even if it is a mythological lord, it can only be promoted to the 3rd rank by the end of the 2nd day. It is estimated that it will take 2 to 3 days to ascend to the 4th rank. It will take at least 5 days to ascend to the 5th rank. In other words, it would be pretty good for a normal myth lord to be able to rise to the 5th rank before the novice protection period ends. But Su-han's upgrade speed far surpassed those of the mythical lords, and he rose to the 4th rank not long after the beginning of the 2nd day. According to the current upgrade speed, by the end of the 2nd day, he will definitely be able to rise to the 5th rank, which is many times faster than those mythical lords. For such a result, Su-han was not surprised at all. He had a tenfold increase. His initial arms are 10 times more than other mythological lords, and the number increases as he goes on. Advantages are accumulated, and the gap between Su-han and those mythological lords will become larger as the time goes on. If he has the ancestral dragon's nest and the tenfold increase in power, his level is similar to that of other mythological lords, or not much higher than that, then he is too useless. While Su-han was daydreaming, the second team of white dragons returned with a large number of monster corpses and trophies. My lord, Su-han looked over and found that these white dragons were all over 10 meters long, with a smile on their faces. The second team of white dragons was born today, and they have risen from the 4th level to the 5th level so quickly, which shows how fast Hu Dao leads the team to kill monsters. The second team of white dragons have all been promoted to the 5th rank, so the first team of white dragons is probably about to be promoted to the 6th rank. As for Hu Dao, the queen of the white dragon, she was born with a 6th level strength. If she wants to rise to the 7th level, she doesn't know if she can achieve it today. Go. Su-han nodded with a smile, watching the group of 10 white dragons leave the territory with a sense of accomplishment on their faces. Then he started working, and his task was to clean up the monster corpses in the square, that is, to collect and decompose them. Su-han sat on this task with ease, and stopped after a full 3 minutes. Some dissatisfied thoughts. It would be great if it could be collected and disassembled with one click. Of course, this is just thinking about it, and it is not yet possible. It is very convenient for the Lord to have the basic skill of collection. If you want more advanced collection skills, you have to wait for the explosion magic blueprint, or buy it from the trading plane. Looking at the food and materials like a hill, Su-han smiled. According to the speed at which Walnut led the team to hunt, the wild monsters in the territory were probably all wiped out. After the supreme palace of his territory was upgraded to a first-level town, the scope of his territory expanded to a radius of 10 kilometers. In the territory, apart from his town being covered by an invincible barrier, there are actually large areas of land occupied by monsters, and those lands are his territory in name. However, this requires him to send troops to clean up the monsters within the territory in order to completely occupy all the resources in the territory. At that time, you can send some ordinary troops to collect various resources, such as wild fruits and vegetables, wood, stone, iron ore, etc., and you can also reclaim fertile land to grow food and vegetables. But this will have to wait for him to obtain some common units, or recruit refugees from outside. Although Su-han wanted to visit the Forest of Fear, he also knew that the timing was wrong. When his own strength is strong, or he has a dragon army, and his personal safety is guaranteed, it will not be too late to go on inspections. After all, he is a lord and has only one life, so he doesn't want to die. For now, it is better to stay in a safe territory and command remotely. Looking at the huge pile of food and materials in front of him, Su-han thought for a while. Although it has only been started for less than 3 hours today, 9,000 units of meat and over 1,000 units of various materials have already been obtained. You must know that yesterday, they only got less than 15,000 units of meat. This is mainly because there are 11 more dragons today, especially Hu Dao, the 6th order high-level dragon. The hunting speed has directly increased several times compared to yesterday. Not only food and materials, but also many magic stones and magic crystals burst out. So far, 289 magic stones and 3 magic crystals have been harvested, all of which were burst from hunting elite monsters. Su-han had seen those kill tips before, and found that half of the monsters hunted and killed by the White Dragon team led by Hu Dao were Tier 1 and Tier 2 monsters, and some were Tier 3 monsters, and the rest were Tier 4 elite monsters. Killed 5 forest hunters of the 5th rank. Su-han put away all the magic stones and magic crystals. He already has 468 magic stones and 5 magic crystals. The 1,000 magic stones and 10 magic crystals needed to upgrade the ancestor dragon's nest to the 3rd level are almost halfway through. According to the hunting speed of Hutao and the others, Su-Han expects to collect all the upgrade resources needed by the Zulong nest within today. There are even more magic stones and magic crystals. Of course, Su-Han still has some expectations. With such a large-scale hunt, the number of monsters hunted is several times, even 10 times higher than yesterday. Will there be some good blueprints? At this moment, Su-Han found that there were more than 30 kill prompts coming from the panel, and there were more than 31 after another. Basically all of them were tier 3 monsters. Obviously it was the walnuts who hunted down a lot of prey and contributed a lot of magic power to Su-Han. Afterwards, Su-Han put all the food on the shelves in the store on the trading plane. The exchange price was still the same as before, but elite food was differentiated from ordinary food. Store name: Supreme Palace. Items for sale: 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 10 units of wood. 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 5 units of stone. 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 3 units of iron ore. 1 unit of food can be exchanged for 1 unit of refined iron. 5 units of food can be exchanged for 1 magic stone. 20 units of food can be exchanged for a magic crystal. Amount of food: 7,600 units. 1 unit of elite meat can be exchanged for 20 units of wood. 1 unit of elite meat can be exchanged for 10 units of stones. 1 unit of elite meat can be exchanged for 6 units of iron ore. 1 unit of elite meat can be exchanged for 2 units of refined iron. 3 units of elite meat can be exchanged for a magic stone. 10 units of elite meat can be exchanged for a magic crystal. Food storage: 1,400 units. Remarks: after eating elite meat, the magic power can be increased, and the first 5 units are effective. After setting the price, Su-Han also looked at other goods in the market, and found that the supply of food was still in short supply. But compared with yesterday, the demand has dropped by about half, which can be seen from the much slower sales of those foods in the market. After all, this is the second day. After the difficult period of the first day, all the lords have bred the second wave of troops, and the chances of being able to hunt monsters and collect food have greatly increased. Except for those unlucky ones whose arms were all dead on the first day. Of course, although these lords have more arms and can collect food, they need more food, and many lords still have food shortages. However, this gap will become smaller and smaller as time goes by. It is estimated that by the end of the 3rd day, the supply and demand will reach a balance. At that time, Su-Han will sell at a higher price and no one will buy it. Su-Han put 9,000 units of food on the shelves at once, including 1,400 units of elite meat, which was quickly digested by the market. But the speed was at least half slower than yesterday, and the 9,000 units of food were barely sold out in 10 minutes. This also made Su-Han feel that it is not easy to earn resources, because there are too many business grabbers in the market. Now not only the Myth Lords, Ace Lords, and Top Lords are selling food, but even Senior Lords are selling food. There are more and more suppliers of food, but fewer and fewer people need food, and the value of food will depreciate rapidly later. Fortunately, Su-Han was well prepared. He can earn a lot of resources in the early stage, which makes the territory upgrade quickly. Even if the food is worthless later, it will not affect him much. 7,600 units of common meat and 1,400 units of elite meat, in exchange for Su-Han 38,000 wood, 18,000 stone, 6,400 iron ore and 1,400 refined iron. Originally, there were only 4,000 units of wood left in Su-Han's warehouse, and now he is suddenly rich again. If you want to upgrade the highest hall of the territory from a first-level town to a second-level town, you need a lot of resources. A total of 100,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of stone, 10,000 units of iron ore, and 1,000 units of refined iron are needed. At present, only refined iron meets the requirements, iron ore is still a little behind, and timber and stone are far behind. However, Su-Han believes that it will not be far from the Supreme Hall being upgraded to a second-tier town. After all, the White Dragon team led by Hu Dao, the White Dragon Queen, kills monsters very quickly. Within today, the territory can definitely be upgraded to a second-tier town. Su-han is a little happy when he thinks that those mythical lords are still working hard to upgrade large castles and first-level towns. Whether it is the buildings of the ancestral dragon nest, or the territory, the higher the level, the more resources are needed to upgrade. It is still a novice period, and it seems that there are enough resources, but that is because the resources are used to supply arms buildings and territory upgrades. After the novice period, when the territories of the lords develop, the speed of development will become slower and slower. In addition to too many resources for unit building and territory upgrades, lords also need to provide resources for other important building upgrades. After all, there will be no such invincible feature as the novice protection barrier at that time. If the territory is accidentally attacked by monsters or local forces, it is very likely to face annihilation. It seems that we need to accumulate more resources during the novice period. Su-han secretly thought. The novice protection period is over, and the lords who can survive the lord's test will face the dilemma of insufficient resources. At that time, food will be plentiful, but various resources will be in short supply, whether it is wood, stone, iron ore, refined iron, mithril and other high-level resources. Su-han breathed a sigh of relief when he thought that he could upgrade the Zulong nest to level 3 today. When the ancestral dragon's nest is upgraded to level 3, 3 or 4 giant dragons can be bred tomorrow. After a tenfold increase, there will be 30 or 40 dragons. At that time, his dragon army was almost formed. There are more than 50 dragons, not to mention sweeping the entire Fear Forest. I am afraid it is almost the same. At this time, on the World Channel, after Su-han put 9,000 units of meat on the shelves, it caused a sensation in an instant. I rely on it. 9,000 units of food. Did giant Su-han wipe out a local force? It's too scary. It's only the second day today, and there is a boss who is so far ahead. Unbelievable. In less than 3 hours from the second day, giant Su-han took out 9,000 units of food, let alone killed 500 monsters. I see that there are 1,400 units of elite meat in it, which are monsters of the 4th and 5th ranks. Giant Su-han can actually hunt the elite monsters of the 4th and 5th ranks. Great hand. Giant Su-han is definitely the top myth lord. In the entire Eternal Continent, there are hundreds of mythological lords, but the food sold at a time is at most thousands of units, which is still accumulated for a long time. I really want to hug Su-han's giant thigh. I have to say that the elite meat sold by the giant Su-han is really delicious, and eating it can increase the magic power. I really want to eat elite meat, but it's too expensive. One thing to say, although the giant Su-han supplies a lot, the price is also the highest. Shouldn't it be small profits but quick sales? Hey, although the food of the giant Su-han is good, but you can't afford it, you should grab cheap food when you are hungry. Su-han sold 9,000 units of food in just 3 hours, including a large amount of 4th and 5th tier elite meat, which immediately caused a sensation. Holy Light Grassland. It is located on a large island overseas in the main material world. There are a large number of wild monsters and warcraft living here, from the lowest level to the sanctuary level, and even the legendary level. At this time, a female lord with a wonderful figure and a beautiful face was participating in a hunt. Of course, the female lord was hiding in the distance, covered by a shield of light. Her name is Song Yulan. She is a myth lord, and she has a mythical armament, the Four-Winged Archangel. The Four-Winged Archangel is also one of the mythical arms. It is born as a 4th order, and its growth limit can reach the Platinum Demigod. Now on the second day, Song Yulan also had 2 Four-Winged Archangels, one of 5th rank and one of 4th rank. At this time, the 2 Four-Winged Archangels were fighting with a group of 2-headed demon wolves. They said they were fighting, but they were actually crushing them. There are more than a dozen 2-headed demon wolves, most of them are tier 3, and there is a wolf king who is a tier 4 elite. However, under the attack of an angel with only a few tens of centimeters, it suffered heavy losses. Soon, more than a dozen 2-headed demon wolves were killed by 2 Four-Winged Angels, and they came to Song Yulan's side. My lord, Song Yulan watched all this excitedly. Today, she mustered up her courage to come out to watch the battle. Monya, Al, you are doing a great job. Song Yulan praised the 2 female angels. 13 3rd-tier 2-headed demon wolves and 1 4th-tier elite 2-headed demon wolf, this is a big gain. These two-headed demon wolves were 5 or 6 meters long, enough for her to get about 500 units of meat, especially the corpse of an elite monster. She also provided a magic crystal. Excited Song Yulan and the angel led the corpse back to her small castle, and put it on the shelves immediately after collection. Originally, Song Yulan thought that it would cause a sensation because there was elite meat for sale, but the result was far different from what she had imagined. Not many people paid attention at all. Song Yulan searched a lot and finally found the reason. Who the hell is this Su Han, who can sell 9,000 units of meat at a time, including 1,400 units of elite meat? Song Yulan pouted, with displeasure written all over her face. The food she sells has definitely caused quite a stir before, but now it is far behind Su Han. The worst thing is, this Su Han didn't approve my friend request. After Su Han made the limelight yesterday, Song Yulan sent a friend request after thinking about it for a while, planning to get in touch and develop together in the future. We are all myth lords, and we must be at the same level in the future. Su Han, you wait, don't let me touch you. Song Yulan raised her small fist, and seemed to feel that this was not good, so she put it down immediately. To upgrade her four-winged angel's reincarnation pool from level 1 to level 2, she needs 300 magic stones and 3 magic crystals. At present, she has collected more than 100 magic stones, and she just got 1 magic crystal. Judging from the current progress, Song Yulan felt that around noon on the 3rd day, she would be able to collect enough resources to upgrade the four-winged angel's reincarnation pool. At that time, the number of angels she has will increase a lot, and the speed of development will be faster. Mount Doom. This is also a large island outside the Eternal Continent. There is a large volcano on it. It is predicted that when the volcano erupts, it will be the end of the world. In fact, there is a gate of hell hidden in the Doomsday volcano. When the gate of hell is opened, the volcano will erupt. On a mountain hundreds of meters high outside the Doomsday volcano, a small castle stands tall. At this time, 2 black dragons flew in, one was 8 or 9 meters long, and the other was more than 10 meters long, carrying a lot of prey. On the balcony on the 3rd floor in the center of the castle, a young man in black watched the scene quietly, but his brows were furrowed. What type of army is this Su Han? My 2 black dragons have almost reached the 5th level. Although they can also hunt 5th level monsters, there are not so many of them, and they need to be in such a short period of time. Feng Tianyun was puzzled. His was a mythical dragon, why his development speed could not catch up with that of Su Han. Do you want the black dragon to attack with all its strength? As soon as this idea came to Feng Tianyun's mind, he gave up. If the black dragon shot with all its strength, although the hunting speed would be several times faster, under the breath of the dark dragon, all the monsters would be wiped out. If there is no meat, what would the black dragon eat? What does he eat? And what to exchange for resources to upgrade the territory? Heaven Mountain, Sea of Dead Fire, Shadow City, Silver Battle City, Sky Garden. One place after another in the Eternal Continent, those lords with mythical arms were shocked when they saw the 9,000 units of food Su Han put on the shelves. There is a sense of urgency in my heart. I must seize the opportunity to develop, otherwise I will fall too far behind Su Han. As lords with mythical arms, they don't think they are inferior to Su Han. After all, everyone's arms are of the same level. Even some lords with unique mythical arms think that Su Han is nothing more than that. His units are stronger in the early stage, which allows him to develop faster, but it is inevitable to give them time to catch up with Su Han, or even surpass him. Although the unique mythical units and the individual mythical units are at the same level, they are similar in the early stage, but they can show a huge difference in the middle and late stages. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.